So how it's gonna impact the this space in particular, and also if you what's your outlook on this counter as well?
All right. So first of all, we should all thank Finance Minister and Prime Minister for the big reforms which we are seeing now in terms of GST. All right. So in terms of consumption, what I can say is it is a very big boost for overall consumption, especially if I talk about the auto and auto ancillaries. Uh, One second, sir. All right. So if I talk about the auto and auto ancillaries, and staples, dairies, organized retail, etc. You name it. But if you want to play this consumption, you can indirectly, you can say, play with these NBFCs. Of course. So being a market leader in this field, Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv are very strong players. So I definitely ask viewers that in case if they are seeing good opportunities, even in dips, they can accumulate for long term.
Understood. Thank you so much for that. Now we are being joined by our first caller on the show, Bindu from Vijayawada. Hi Bindu, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, how can I help you today on the show?
Yeah, I hold 250 shares of Aegis Vopak Terminals.
Yeah.
At 245 price.
Yes.
I want to know the short-term and long-term perspective of the stock.
Okay.
So I want to add more if it has a dip.
Understood.
Is it good to hold the stock, or should I exit and enter to any other counter?
Okay. So Dinesh, talking about the fundamentals of it, if we look at the valuations, it's pretty highly valuated, very stretched there. So fundamentally, is it really worth, investing in this counter for a longer period of time?
A very short answer, no. So if I'll give you a long answer, definitely, as you rightly mentioned, is the valuations are way too stretched. And if I talk about the numbers, they are also not growing. So if I believe this counter is recently listed, but given that overall numbers are not even, I think they are not growing last 3 years. Plus, if I talk about the balance sheet, overall borrowings has increased. I think it has doubled in last 2 years. So even if they are growing in terms of top line, the overall we can say that it will be grabbed by the interest rates which they will be paying. So I would suggest they can definitely switch to different segments and overall opportunities in different segments as well.
And also, I'd like to take Nishit's view on it. Nishit, technically, what are the charts suggesting?
Pardon me, I didn't hear the name. Can you repeat the name?
It's Aegis Vopak.
So I'm not able to load.
It's absolutely fine, Nishit. It's absolutely fine. We'll come back to it later. Now let's just go ahead with the caller who's joining us from Bengaluru. Hi Venkat, good evening.
Yes, good evening, madam.
Yes, how can I help you today on the show?
Madam, I have been allotted Vikran engineering shares.
Yeah.
At the price of 97.
Yeah.
Is it good for 1 year or 2 years? Shall I hold?
Understood. So, Vikran Engineering, Dinesh, are you having any sort of coverage on this counter? And if yes, so fundamentally, how strong is it?
I'm not keenly tracking the space, but I can give you an idea based on what numbers are saying, if that helps. So if I talk about the recent 5 years numbers, of course, growth is, we are seeing growth in terms of top line, and margins are also growing. And if I talk about the profits, which is a very strong move, I think they have done from 10 crores to 78 crores. And okay, one thing which I can see is their short-term borrowings, which has increased. Hence, I think that is they can hold, I think, for 1 to 2 quarters before they can get a clear idea what exactly going on inside the company and based on the management view. So for now, at least for 1 quarter, they can track because the company has recently listed. So we can't say because there are no conference calls as well. So they can definitely hear the conference calls for 1 to 2 quarters. For now, for maybe short term period of time, they can hold.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for that. Now we have another WhatsApp query. So Ashwin from Nepal is asking whether it's the right time to buy TCS at current levels. So TCS is currently trading at 3,096, and if we talk about today, so it was just, it ended flat in trade today. But Dinesh, I'd like to come to you talking about the fundamentals of the company. It's a strong company, but the space in particular, how optimistic are you that it's gonna give good returns if somebody has invested in it for a period of, let's say, 1 to 2 years?
So for short term, I think we had a very clear view that IT is not performing. However, if they have a long term view for at least for 1 to 2 years, they can start accumulating because overall, if I see on valuation front, it is a decent valuations overall. And once the overall things in terms of United States and their economy will grow, I think these companies like especially TCS and Infosys kind of companies, they can be a big beneficiaries. And if I talk about the overall growth, maybe it is not, maybe they cannot see for 1 to 2 quarters, but for long term, yes, definitely it's a good stock to add in the portfolios. At least for it can provide a cushion at these levels.
Okay, okay, understood. And Nishit, I'll come to you talking about the technical aspect of it. So the stock is seeing a beating there on the charts, but still any sort of positive momentum that you're anticipating?
So the stock is in continuous downtrend, and the important support is around 2,900 odd levels. So if the counter goes below that, then it's quite a bit painful for the investors. But the company is very strong, so investors should keep a patient and keep a view of 6 months to 1 year for an upside.
Understood, understood. Thank you so much for that. Now let's go across to Nishant, who's joining us on the phone line from Thane. Hi Nishant, good evening.
Yes, I wanted to know about RateGain Technologies.
Yeah.
I had 70 shares of it at 730 and 40 at 435. So I averaged it at 630.
Yeah.
So I wanted a long-term and short-term view.
Okay, okay. So Dinesh, since Nishant bought RateGain at 630 and currently it has dropped down to 607, but still fundamentally, do you suggest him to stay put with this investment of his?
Yeah, so I don't see any issue for at least for maybe for 1 to 2 years. And given that technicals, if I talk about the recent quarterly numbers, they are decent, but I see some issues in terms of quarter on quarter growth. And however, if it is sustaining for maybe for 1 to 2 quarters, maybe that is okay. And in terms of again, because as this is in the IT sector, it recently it was hit by all the sentiments, you can say. So for now, the sentiments are improving for the stock per se. They can wait for 1 to 2 quarters before they can accumulate more.
Understood. Thank you so much, Dinesh, for that. And Nishit, I'll also come to you talking about the technicals of RateGain. So what are the charts looking like?
So the stock is continuously trading above all the major moving averages, the 20 moving, the 20, the 100 and the 200. So the investors should continue holding the stock with a target of around 800 odd levels with a stop loss of around 500 levels.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for that. Now we're being joined by Teja on the phone line from Nellore. Hi, Teja. Good evening. Teja, are you there on the phone line with us? I think there's some issue with the line, but we have Teja's query with us. So Teja is asking whether he should be investing in SBI or an ITC for a long-term investment. So Dinesh, I directly come to you and pose this question to you. What's your pick, SBI or ITC, if somebody wants to invest in it?
Different companies, different sectors, different growth altogether. I think both companies are very strong in terms of fundamentals, and these both companies can be should be a part of for long term portfolio, at least, if not a higher percentage of allocation, at least for a small portion of 3 to 5% should be there. However, if I talk about the ITC, given that recently we had a highest tax rate of almost 40% now, so I think they can wait for some time. Until then, they can accumulate the different banks as well. As I mentioned as well, Bajaj Finsa or Bajaj Finance are good place. For ITC, I think they should wait for maybe for short term, maybe 5 months or 6 months. Until then, they can evaluate HUL, Britannia type of companies.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for that. And also, Nishit, I'd like to come to you on the levels. What should be the levels that one should be eyeing at if they want to take fresh positions in counters like SBI or an ITC?
So both the counters are more or less same in the consolidation phase. So for the SBI, one can look for the breakout of around 840 odd levels. Above that, we can see a fresh up move and a fresh all-time high. Till then, it's a sideways to consolidation phase.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And with that, I'm afraid that, we are running short of time on this edition of Ask Profit. But thank you so much, Dinesh and Nishit, for being there with us on this show and, sharing your valuable insights there. Thank you so much. And I'm being joined by my managing editor, Tamanna Inamdar, with me on the studio. So, Tamanna, what are you really picking up?
Yeah.
And big day.
A big day, Himakshi, completely. And I'm really looking forward to the next conversation. And I'll tell you why. Because all through the day, when we've been speaking to our experts who track the markets, and we've been asking them, tell us the one stock that can really have impact, they've all, without fail, said Bajaj Finance, because it's an early Diwali for Indians, as the GST Council has ratified. And of course, if there's one company who's going to be at the forefront of fulfilling those consumer needs, it's going to be this one. But I'm speaking right now with Sanjiv Bajaj in a very different avatar, as well as chairman of the CII Reforms Committee. Sanjiv, pleasure to speak with you as always. Thank you so much for your time to us. The speed, the alacrity and the precision with which these GST rates have been cut give us a very clear sense of the intent as far as the government is concerned. Put more money in the hands of the people, boost the domestic consumption-led economy of India. Would it be fair to say that the ball is now in the court of industry? It is industry who has to carry the baton forward.
Tamanna, the reality is that this is probably the most significant reform that we have seen since the introduction of GST in 2017. And this directly benefits multiple sectors. It benefits households because their costs come down dramatically, whether it is for daily household items, whether it's for travel, whether it's for your policies, insurance policies for life or for health. It benefits MSMEs. See, so many sectors that are labor intensive have seen a reduction in cuts over there. The cut in cement, this will enable the construction infrastructure sector. So really it's been a sweeping rate cut across most sectors, correction of inverted duty structure and again many areas. So all this clearly should provide a boost for the economy.
The boost for the economy is at one sense, but I'll reiterate what my question is. What is industry going to do to take on this booster that has been given? It's great for consumers, but as industry, how do you look at it, apart from the demand increasing?
One, very clearly, industry has to pass on these benefits to the consumers so that consumers get the end benefit of this. And in a competitive industry, that's what should happen across multiple sectors. I believe that consumer demand for the last quarter or so, we had started seeing it starting to improve anyway. This will provide further tailwinds. We still have the uncertainty around, as you know, the US trade pact, but this should provide that much needed boost. What it then means is that for most private sector and also public sector, you are going to produce more with the festival season coming up. And it's not only one-time festival season. These sweeping cuts will enable people not only to save money by spending, they will either spend more or they will save that money. That money will go into the financial cycle as well. So I see this more as a medium to long-term trend, which automatically means that the private sector should see greater capacity utilization, and this should spur new investment across multiple sectors.
You made a passing reference, but I'm going to just come back to that point on uncertain times in terms of tariff impact, etc. What the policy shift that we've seen, or the policy reform that we've been seeing, is also being seen in that larger context. Any thoughts there, Mr. Bajaj, on will this be some sort of a balm while we're trying to figure out as a nation what is the impact economically of these tariffs?
More than the economic impact, there is a human impact, because a large number of sectors that directly get impacted with this 50% duty have a large amount of employment, and employment at the lower income levels. So that is something that we have to be sensitive to. Beyond that, we are luckily a very strong domestic economy. We're signing FTAs with multiple other countries. We have to be sensitive to the fact that whoever has significant supply to the US, you cannot overnight change customers. You cannot find new markets overnight. You can't let your long-term customers go. They may not come back. So some of those sectors will face the pain, and I'm sure the government has talked about trying to see ways to alleviate that. But for the broader economy, one, our exposure to the US is limited. Second, we have seen early tailwinds from the budget and the no income tax up to 12.75 lakh salary. Third, now with this kind of GST rate cut. Fourth, good monsoons, maybe too good monsoons, but good monsoons. All of these are a set of tailwinds which should end up helping us positively with growth. And yes, I am hopeful that at some point in the near future, the US Trade Pact also gets done, because it is an uncertainty. It is a negative news that comes every day in the papers. And we must be clear, we are human beings. When we see stuff that's coming out negative, we end up tightening our fists.
Yeah.
I believe with the GST rationalization, the government has given enough reason to open the fist.
So then let me come to specifically what is the impact for your space when people do start opening the fist, and every which way that flows to you, right? If they want to save then and invest and buy more insurance, that's a benefit for you. If they want to buy more things and do it against a loan, that's a benefit for you, which is why I think so much of a focus on what you do and what your company does. What is the kind of demand spur that you see happening?
Well, we'll have to wait and watch to see what the exact demand spur is, but it clearly should be important. And to the point that you made, Tamanna, this is actually all that we've been doing the last 17 years building at Bajaj Finserv. Our whole goal is to be the financial life cycle partner to every Indian. From the time they need loans, they need protection for their assets, for their health, for their life, and then help with investments. And yes, when the economy grows, financial services companies end up being a significant beneficiary. And we hope to continue in our role of enabling Indians towards a more prosperous life.
Insurance side though, is there a concern on input tax credit? We've been speaking to a lot of insurers since this morning, and the idea seems to be, or the outcome seems to be, that maybe people's premiums might not go down. It might actually go up because of this lack of input tax credit right now. Just what is your take on how you see the numbers stacking up?
Very broadly, I'm clear that prices should go down. There will be a benefit. How much benefit? Everybody's calculating that. We also have to use this opportunity as an industry to tighten our belts, to get more competitive, to improve our efficiencies, especially volumes go up. Look at on health insurance, there's been a big saving in GST for hospitals. Hospitals need to play an equally important role in cutting their rates. So we have to look at this end to end to see that how do we really end up making money even as industry, not on each individual loan or insurance policy or patient that we service, but on the larger volume. We have so far scratched only the surface of India. If we go deeper into India in the coming years and do this together, it is to the benefit of the consumer, and it will be to our benefit as well.
But in terms of the input tax credit aspect of it, and if you could just throw some light on it, is it a negative for insurance companies in terms of their profitability?
It is a net, the net it is a positive. So the GST rate cut is going to be 18%. The input tax credit differs for different products, but it's going to be in the region of maybe 5 to 8%. I don't have an exact number. So net, there is a big saving. And as I said, in addition to that, on health, on life, if hospitals chip in, clinics chip in, because eventually those are costs that we end up bearing, we can end up saving even more. So I'm very clear that this is a benefit to consumers. I would like to add a point that a lot of these recommendations for the GST rate cut have happened by CII through a committee that a number of us worked on. I chaired that committee. We released our report last week on the next set of reforms required for a more competitive India. A number of these reforms or the GST rate cuts and other reforms were a part of that. And there are many more over there. So I do hope that what we will see is only the start on a set of the next generation of reforms to take India over the next 20 years to a much higher level of income.
Just one last part, Mr. Bajaj, in terms of the caution that we've seen on lending and across the board, SME loans, in fact, even small personal loans, etc. Do you think that that caution now needs to come back as the fists open, so to speak? How do you think that both those aspects will be balanced?
You know, as lending institutions, we are in the business of managing risk, and that never ends. You will go through cycles. For people like us, we can see that cycle is at a zip code level, at a particular product level of a type of loan, and we monitor that daily. So we know where the, I would say, the defaults are inching upwards. We will slow exposure there. We'll try and identify causes and alleviate that. And we will look at pockets where growth is good and defaults are low as well. So this is a continuous process. I do believe that the higher default levels we saw in the unsecured lending business over the last few years, that has now come back and almost normalized. On the MSME side, Bajaj Finance did point out some higher default rates, but keep in mind that's at their numbers, which are significantly lower than the industry. I think that got misread a little bit too much. But we've always called out in data as we see it, because it is important then for our investors to take their own right calls. But overall, I'm positive when I see the opportunity in India in the coming quarters.
Do you also see more money flowing maybe into mutual funds and savings as people see that they have more left over in their pockets?
Very much so. We've already seen the benefit of this to the not only the Indian stock markets, but the fact that we've insulated our stock markets from just foreign flows in the last few years, with the amount of money coming in monthly, 20 to 30,000 crores from Indian savers. And this is only going to go up, because what middle class India is saying is, beyond my own expenses, I want that money to get me a better return, and please provide me with the right solutions in a safe, transparent manner to enable me to achieve that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Bajaj, for your time to us. Absolute pleasure speaking with you as always. And, we're getting that overall perspective of how these reforms will really make a difference. That's all the time we have on this edition, but we'll be back from a very short break. Stay tuned.
We see the problems, but you as a social entrepreneur see the solutions. You are not just creating solution, you are creating a future where everyone has a chance to thrive. For the change makers, the innovators, the ones building a better world, one solution at a time. The Adani Green Talk Social Impact Awards are created for you. Green Talk Social Impact Awards 2025, coming soon.
Presenting the all-knowing, all-powerful Tech Guru.
Whoa. Guru? I'm no guru.
Okay.
I'm just a guy who loves his tech.
A show where the mysteries of megabytes and motherboards shall be unraveled.
Bro, nobody talks like that anymore. This is all about connected ecosystems, EVs and AI that you can use in your daily lives. We aren't talking about time travel. yet.
Gadgets tested under extreme conditions.
But why? I review tech for people like you and me. You know what? Let me take it from here.
All right.
Tech isn't that complicated. In fact, it's about making our lives simpler, better, and more fun. That's what we do on Tech 360. Real talk, real reviews, tech that you can actually use.
Tech has changed. So should your tech show.
They're the force behind some of India's most respected business empires. But you've rarely heard them speak. Now, for the first time, these leaders open up on succession, conflict, governance, and inheritance. Join me as we step inside boardrooms and living rooms of India's most enduring family businesses for real stories, raw conversation, resilient legacies.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in?
Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails the GST Council's sweeping new reforms, calling the overhaul a milestone in pro-people governance. The GST rate cuts also result in a reduction of tax rates on a wide range of everyday items like hair oil, cornflakes, televisions, and personal health and life insurance policies. NDTV brings you coverage from hospitals to eateries to kirana stores. India's sweeping GST rate overhaul comes just as US tariffs pressure key domestic sectors. A coincidence reflecting years of behind-the-scenes reform work, says Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. The Nifty closes flat after opening on a high note, tumbles 1% from the day's high. Insurance stock lose gains made in early trade. Tata Consumer, HDFC Life and Wipro dragged the Nifty. Top market experts on NDTV Profit weigh in on the GST rate cuts. Ramdeo Agrawal believes that the market will need time to digest the magnitude of the GST reform. Foresees a bumper second half. Madhusudan Kela calls the GST reforms a landmark moment for the country.
तो मैंने लाल किले से इस बार 15 अगस्त को कहा था कि भारत को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने के लिए नेक्स्ट जनरेशन रिफॉर्म करना बहुत जरूरी है। मैंने देशवासियों से भी ये वादा किया था कि इस दिवाली और छठ पूजा से पहले खुशियों का डबल धमाका होगा। अब आप लोग तो यहां 2 दिन से ये सब जगह अब आपका चरण रज लेने का प्रयास होता होगा, तो आपको शायद अखबार देखने का मौका नहीं मिला होगा, न टीवी देखने का मौका मिला होगा। या तो घर पे बात करते हो, अरे वहां फोटो छपी है। खैर, जिस भावना को लेकर हम चल रहे हैं, उसी भावना पर चलते हुए कल भारत सरकार ने राज्यों के साथ मिलकर के एक बहुत बड़ा निर्णय किया है और बहुत महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय है। अब जीएसटी और भी ज्यादा सिंपल हो गया है, सरल हो गया है। जीएसटी के मुख्यतः 2 ही रेट रह गए हैं, 5% और 18%, 5% और 18%। और 22 सितंबर सोमवार, जब नवरात्र का पहला दिन है, और ये सारी चीजों का मातृशक्ति को संबंध तो बहुत ही रहता है, और इसलिए नवरात्रि के इस प्रथम दिवस पर जीएसटी का जो एक रिफॉर्म वर्जन है, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन रिफॉर्म किया हुआ, वो लागू हो जाएगा। यानी नवरात्रि से ही देश के करोड़ों परिवार की जो जरूरतें हैं वो और अधिक सस्ती मिलनी शुरू हो जाएगी। इस बार धनतेरस की रौनक भी और ज्यादा रहेगी।
Viewers, that was Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailing the recent GST reforms as a big and significant decision taken by the Union government and the states. He has also emphasized that these changes, which simplify the tax structure to a 2-slab system of 5% and 18%, will make the goods and services tax more streamlined and easier for the public to navigate. Now, in an exclusive interview to NDTV Network, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal said that GST reforms would empower the nation to counter US tariffs by spurring the domestic consumption. Listen in.
We've been working on it for a long time, and periodically it has been publicly known also that this is going to come in. On 15th August, we got a flavor with Prime Minister committing and promising to give a huge Diwali gift. And there you are. He always delivers on his promises. And with Navratri coming up on 22nd, the festive season starting on 22nd September, I think the timing is just right. It's coincidental that we have certain sectors affected by high tariffs from another country, and this will ameliorate their impact quite a bit. For example, textiles is one of the biggest gainers. Footwear and leather is one of the biggest gainers. So our food products, the amount of benefit that farmers and the entire value chain in food products will get is humongous. All of this will lead to greater purchasing power in the hands of the common man. It will be a big relief to our consumer spending costs and will help many sections of society to go in for things which they would otherwise not have been able to afford.
In fact, Maharashtra Minister Aditi Tatkare, who is also a member of the GST Council, says rate rationalization will bring relief to the common man. She also highlighted that sectors like agriculture, auto and insurance will benefit the most, adding that all the states supported exempting insurance from GST.
The most important aspect and the most important, I think, part of the yesterday's council or the reforms that have come is the relief the common man has been getting with the, with the reforms or the decisions that have been taken by the GST Council under the leadership of Finance Minister and guidance of Honorable Prime Minister yesterday. Basically, there were, 4 to 5 slabs of taxes, GST, which every common man or every sector had to go through, and I think that is one thing that has been streamlined. And there are important aspects such as agriculture sector is getting a major relief. Auto sector is getting some kind of relief from it. Our essential basic commodities are getting a huge relief. So health insurance is one of the most important part, and where every state supported it. So all of us unanimously supported the rate rationalization because it was need of the time. And since we are looking at Vikasit Bharat in 2047, I think GST reforms are one of the most important step towards it.
India has gotten an early Diwali as the GST Council ratifies a simplified two-slab regime that is 5% and 18%, set to launch on September 22. Now the move slashes taxes on a range of goods and services, making daily essentials, insurance and popular electronics notably cheaper. Items previously taxed at 5% GST such as paneer, milk and certain Indian breads are now exempt with a nil rate. Items previously taxed at 12% and 18%, including shampoo, soap bars, several medicines, and also cookware, have been reduced to 5%. High-value items such as air conditioners, televisions, washing machines, and small cars, previously in the 28% tax bracket, are now at 18%. So, additional reforms include exemptions from individual health and life insurance premiums. In a separate category, sin goods like pan masala, cigarettes, tobacco and beedies, along with luxury items such as aircraft for personal use, luxury cars and yachts, have been levied a special rate of 40%. The finance minister clarified in a press conference that the next revenue impact of the GST reforms is expected to be 48,000 crore rupees annually. Emphasizing the government's focus, the council noted that these reforms go beyond mere rationalization. They are designed to directly benefit the common man by simplifying the tax structure and also making essential goods and services more affordable. And standing now, NDTV's full team of reporters are there live with us on the ground, gathering reactions to the GST Diwali Dhamaka announced by GST Council. So joining us are colleagues Harsha in Jaipur, Deepak in Bengaluru, and along with Paras and Ranveer. They all will bring you the voice of people, from shoppers to everyday consumers. First up, here's an exclusive first-hand look at their responses and what this means for Indian consumers.
I have two young women here with me, working professionals themselves, and of course also look after their households as well. So, two things. The biggest takeaway that many of them have been talking about is, the groceries, the GST on it coming down to about 5%. Then there is also electronics, there's also small cars, all of this, the prices being dropped. How do you view it, both as working professionals and as homemakers?
So as homemakers, definitely it's a very, very welcoming change for the common goods to come down, the personal items of daily usage. But however, I also saw that processed food has also, the GST has come down for that, like your instant noodles and all of that. So I don't know, I would not want my kid to have it in more quantity just because the...
But you're the one who's buying.
Maybe if my husband goes and buy, that also is a possibility. The health insurance is also something which I felt is a very welcoming change, given that I have a old parent at home. So yeah.
My colleague Harsha Singh from NDTV has visited the Bhagwan Mahavir Cancer Hospital in Jaipur to talk to doctors and also patients about their feelings on the lower GST on cancer drugs. Let's listen in.
From 12% to nil, from 5% to nil. 33 life-saving drugs have been drastically brought down in the GST graph, and it's going to mean a huge help for patients who are battling cancer. We are at the Bhagwan Mahavir Cancer Hospital, and I have with me Mrs. Anila Kothari. She runs this hospital. Mrs. Kothari, by reducing GST on cancer drugs, आपको लगता है how much of a help is that going to be?
देखो, ड्रग में ही नहीं है, सब चीज़ों के अंदर यहाँ पे जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट आते हैं वो उन सब में भी फ़र्क पड़ रहा है. और भी अभी तो डिक्लेयर होगा कि किसी 28 की 5 कर दी या 12 की 5 कर दी, तो ये तो भी धीरे धीरे पता चलेगा.
But will it bring down the treatment of the cost of treatment? You think it will?
वो मतलब मेरे को लगता है कि 20% तो फ़र्क पड़ना चाहिए.
Okay.
20 से 25% फ्री, क्योंकि ट्रीटमेंट अलग जगह, दवाई अलग जगह.
In fact, my colleague Ranveer Singh spoke to shopkeepers and shoppers in grocery stores as well. Here's what they have to say about the reduction in grocery prices.
Union government announces GST cut, which has given a reason to common people to cheer. I'm in Lucknow, and as yesterday the Union government announces GST cut, now every common man has get a reason to enjoy, to celebrate, because they were suffering due to inflation. I'm here in a grocery shop, and I'll talk to the owners and some of the customers to get their reaction that how they are seeing this union government's decision. The owner is with me, sir. क्या नाम है आपका?
अमृतलाल अरोड़ा।
अरोड़ा साहब, जीएसटी का जो कट अभी सरकार ने अनाउंस किया है 22 सितंबर से उसको लागू किया जाएगा, ये फैसला आप कैसे देखते हैं? अच्छा,
बहुत बढ़िया, सही है और इससे लोगों को राहत मिलेगी।
अच्छा, ये फैसला तो बहुत बढ़िया है। हाँ, इससे खुश हैं।
आम आदमी के तौर पर कितनी दिक्कतें होती थी महंगाई से?
महंगाई से बहुत दिक्कतें होती थी, लेकिन अब इससे बहुत लोगों को राहत मिलेगी, अच्छी तरीके लोग खरीदारी करेंगे।
The reform which has been made by the finance minister and the government yesterday night. So what do you think about it? Because there were many products where local people and the people of India was paying a higher GST, but now they have to pay less GST. There are many products where there is no GST now, like milk and other things. There are many other electronic items which is going to get cheaper now. What do you think about it?
मेरे को लगता है कि इससे आम जनता को फ़ायदा होना चाहिए, दुकानदारों ने उसको कम करना चाहिए, तो ही उसका लाभ मिलेगा, नहीं तो वापस उसका दो महीने के बाद मैन्युफैक्चरर वाले उनका रेट बढ़ाएंगे और वो इक्वल होना नहीं चाहिए, रियली उसका लाभ होना चाहिए पब्लिक आम जनता को।
Now let's go across to Shrimi, who spoke with auto dealers seeking clarity from the Finance Ministry on their accumulated compensation cess credits. Dealers are concerned that these credits could actually become non-recoverable under the new GST regime, raising questions about their financial impact and also future operations.
Absolutely, a very important piece of information coming in. What we are picking up, that Finance Ministry is not in favor of giving any relief or transition plan for auto car dealers on the unsold luxury car stocks. So what is happening here is that the auto car dealers have accumulated compensation cess credit which they cannot use after September 22nd, when the new rate structure for luxury car and all other items will actually kick in. So what is happening at this point, that all these several car dealers have approached Finance Ministry seeking some relief, that how they are going to utilize that, how they are going to recover the compensation cess which they actually paid to the car manufacturer on the inventory, on the stock they bought from the car manufacturer. But what we are getting sense that there couldn't be any sort of transition plan, and in fact the argument being that since at present all those luxury car is at attracting 28% plus cess between 17 up to 22%, which takes to 50% the total tax value. But when the new structure will kick in, it will actually goes to the special 40% rate. So anyway, this will boost the entire luxury car segment market. So the argument is so far is that, and there are no clear guidance coming in, but the sense we are getting that it's highly unlikely that they are going to get any sort of relief or mechanism to use these compensation credit which they have accumulated over the period.
Thanks, Shrimi, for that. In fact, Uno Minda's executive chairman Nirmal K. Minda has welcomed the GST rate cuts, calling them a strong boost to India's economy. He has highlighted that the lower GST rates will also help offset the impact of US tariffs on sectors like auto components. So according to him, the simplified two-slab GST structure will particularly ease the operations for MSMEs, fostering growth and also ease of doing business.
I think this is a very, very great initiative by the government of India to boost the economy in this. And as we know that, the overall US tariff, this will also offset our industry. This GST 2.0 will offset the impact of the US tariff as well. That's point number one. Overall economy will grow, demand will grow, middle class, lower middle class and upper middle class will get an opportunity for buying capacity. Per capita income shall grow. With all that, I think this is a great boost. And as you said, from 4 layer to 2 layer, this will also simplify the MSME, overall structure of that.
In fact, the auto sector has warmly welcomed the GST rate cuts. Gaurav Gupta, president of TVS Motors India two-wheeler division, described the move as a pre-Diwali bonanza for the industry. So Shailesh Chandra, president of SIAM, added that the entry-level segment stands to gain the most from the reduced rates. Let's hear more from them as they share their views on this development.
Well, I would say in one word, wow. And gratitude, I would say, because I think this is really, a long-standing demand and a requirement of the consumers in the country. So we sincerely applaud the efforts of the government to be able to really bring this big step toward boosting the economic growth, as well as, more empowering the entire middle class's spending power to take it on to a higher level. This will give entire acceleration to our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. This will bring in more euphoria, more bonanza. And I think it's rightly said it's an early Diwali gift. In fact, I would say it's an early Diwali gift and an extended Diwali going further also, because this momentum should continue. So we are looking forward to it. Exciting times, encouraging times. And of course, we do expect more increase in, footfalls and spending by the consumers, sorry.
The last peak that the category had seen was in 2019. And despite last 2 to 3 years of growth that we have seen in this segment, it has still not hit that peak, unlike the other categories. And therefore, a 10% reduction will have a significant impact for the two-wheeler, and it should more than surpass the 2019 numbers, without doubt, because entry segment and the middle income group is likely to benefit and respond the most, and therefore two-wheeler segment definitely will see a significant revival, after 2019, I would say. As far as car segment is concerned, you rightly said that the real addition of demand is going to come in the entry side, where people who earlier thought they could not afford a car, they will now start thinking of buying a new car. There will also be, people who are already in the market today with a certain budget. Now they will see the higher, segment cars more accessible to them. And you will also see, therefore, some segmental shift for the upgraders or already who are in the market with a certain budget.
Viewers, now switching gears to the market. So the morning cheer over the GST Council's Diwali Dhamaka fizzled out later in the day. The Nifty, however, managed to end the day above 24,700 levels, but came just 1% off the day's high. The sectoral picture was mixed, with defense, PSU, banks and IT being the top losers, and auto, consumption and finance were the top gainers. Puneet is now joining us with the wrap of all the market action.
Well, it was a day dominated by news flow around the GST, but an anticlimactic ending to say the least, because we did see the Nifty almost close flat and give up all of its gains from the start of the trading session. We did see the Nifty Auto continue to be one of the biggest dominators in terms of news flow because of the GST reduction from 28 to 18%, and that was a sectoral gainer. But let's start with the benchmarks first. It ended on a flat note and it fell 1% from the day's highs of today. So we did see selling consistently from the start of the day and end with just a gain of 24 points on the Nifty 50. We saw stocks like Tata Consumer as well as HDFC Life and Wipro fall the most in the Nifty, while the biggest gainer was undoubtedly Mahindra and Mahindra. We also saw some positive reaction on stocks like Hero, Maruti and Eicher in the Nifty 50, but they failed to hold up those gains by the end of the day. When you look at the other aspects, SBI Life as well as HDFC Life and Tata Consumer fell over 5% from the day's high, and despite the positive uptick for insurance stocks because of the GST rate reduction, we couldn't continue to hold on to those gains. The mid cap as well as the small cap 250 index were both actually in the red in the middle of the day, and they consistently were under pressure throughout the day and remain so as we close out today's session. We've seen essentially stocks like Indian Overseas Axis Bank and Cochin Shipyard and Paytm being the biggest losers essentially for the Nifty mid cap, while for the Nifty small cap, it snapped its 3-day gaining streak, and stocks like TBO Tech, which was one of the biggest gainers in yesterday's trade, ended in the red today. We also saw something like a Data Patterns and Shiving Corporation also continue to be under pressure throughout the day today as well. Finally, in terms of sectors, we did see the Nifty Auto being one of the biggest gainers, and stocks like M&M continued to be positive, while amongst the others, the PSU Bank was the top sectoral loser today. We also saw Nifty Bank as well as Financial extend their gains for the second consecutive day, and possibly some positive reaction seen there with the increasing consumption in the second half because of the GST rate cuts. Banks could be a big beneficiary. Overall, when we come back for trading session tomorrow, we will see the onset of this news flow domination continue over the next few days, but that largely seems to be not holding up in today's gains, but overall a very long-term positive news for the market with the GST rate reduction amongst others.
Absolutely, Puneet. Thank you so much for that. And now, viewers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has clearly distinguished between online gaming and gambling while welcoming the passage of the Promotion and Regulation of the Online Gaming Bill 2025. He emphasized that gaming itself is not harmful, but gambling poses significant risk, particularly to the youth's future.
आपने अभी देखा होगा कि अभी पार्लियामेंट का जब सत्र चल रहा था, तो हमने ऑनलाइन गेमिंग से जुड़ा एक कानून बनाया है। अब ये सब शिक्षकों को पता होना चाहिए। गेमिंग एंड गैम्बलिंग, दुर्भाग्य ऐसा है कि कहते तो गेमिंग है लेकिन हो जाता है जुआ, और इसलिए सरकार ने, और बहुत बड़ा निर्णय है ये, बड़ी बड़ी ताकतें वो कभी नहीं चाहती थी कि ऐसा कानून आए और देश में गैम्बलिंग पर प्रतिबंध आ जाए, लेकिन आज एक ऐसी सरकार है जिसमें पॉलिटिकल व्हील है और जिसके दिल में देश के उज्जवल भविष्य की चिंता है, बच्चों के भविष्य की चिंता है, और इसलिए हमने ऐसे किसी भी दबाव की परवाह किए बिना, किसको क्या लगेगा किसको क्या नहीं लगेगा इसकी परवाह किए बिना, गेमिंग के संबंध में, ऑनलाइन गेम्स के संबंध में कानून लाए हैं। ऐसे अनेक ऑनलाइन गेम्स थे जिनसे हमारे स्टूडेंट्स प्रभावित हो रहे थे।
Viewers, that's all the time we had on this edition of Profit 360, but please don't go anywhere and stay tuned to NDTV Profit.
We see the problems, but you as a social entrepreneur see the solutions. You are not just creating solution, you are creating a future where everyone has a chance to thrive. For the change makers, the innovators, the ones building a better world, one solution at a time. The Adani Green Talk Social Impact Awards are created for you. Green Talk Social Impact Awards 2025, coming soon.
Presenting the all-knowing, all-powerful Tech Guru.
Whoa. Guru? I'm no guru.
Okay.
I'm just a guy who loves his tech.
A show where the mysteries of megabytes and motherboards shall be unraveled.
Bro, nobody talks like that anymore. This is all about connected ecosystems, EVs and AI that you can use in your daily lives. We aren't talking about time travel yet.
Gadgets tested under extreme conditions.
But why? I review tech for people like you and me. You know what? Let me take it from here.
All right.
Tech isn't that complicated. In fact, it's about making our lives simpler, better, and more fun. That's what we do on Tech 360. Real talk, real reviews, tech that you can actually use.
Tech has changed. So should your tech show.
They're the force behind some of India's most respected business empires.
but you've rarely heard them speak. Now, for the first time, these leaders open up on succession, conflict, governance, and inheritance. Join me as we step inside boardrooms and living rooms of India's most enduring family businesses for real stories, raw conversation, resilient legacies.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
I think the questions to our next very special guest, Mr. Madhusudan Kela, will be whether this is something that is a landmark move in the Indian economic landscape. Mr. Kela, so good having you. Thank you so much for taking the time out and being with us. And that's my simple question to you, sir. Is this a landmark move in the Indian economic landscape, simplifying the GST structure?
Yeah, it is clearly a landmark move. I would say this is like more than what we normally expect in the budget also, right? Because there is a significant impact which is being done to a lot of sectors, Neeraj. Because if you look at even something like cement, if you are selling a bag for 300 rupees and the price reduction of virtually 10%, will mean it's a very, very meaningful reduction and rationalization across categories. It will help lower middle class and middle class people very, very significantly. I'm assuming government will also monitor that entire excise reduction will get passed on to the consumer, and that will spur demand. And I'm sure government has done a very calculated move by which they will, the spur in demand itself will partially compensate the loss in GST, and also the GST increase in some things which are being done. So it's a very significant thing. But Neeraj, I would like to say looking at the mood and looking at what we are also hearing through even people like you, a government seems to be absolutely in a determined mode to take many such measures, and this is of course the most significant one. But I am quite hopeful a lot more will get done, whether it comes to ease of doing business or deregulation into various sectors. Lot more will come.
Mr. Kela, could this, actually that was going to be my next question. The economic scenario as it stands right now with the tariff issues, etc., and maybe they'll get solved as well, but because they have happened, etc., would this have prompted the government to take this one big move and, as you said, a series of other moves? And is that a good enough counter to the slowdown due to tariffs and due to the fact that the global growth scenario is also looking a bit skittish?
I am sure that is what the government is aiming at, Neeraj. And I would like to draw your attention to the fact that, let's say, if we look at our Prime Minister's history over the last 25 years, how he has tackled problems. Whenever there is a problem being thrown upon him, how he has tackled it. I think they have been very, very decisive in tackling issues, and this is clearly concerning the country. So I am sure they are not only looking at compensating the loss, but they are looking at even more than that in terms of widening our export base to various countries. And we have analyzed, Neeraj, this in detail. It is not as simple as what the world is making out to be, that this is what the American exports are, and this is what the impact of the tariff will be, and this is what the reduction will be, and this is what will be the impact on the GDP. It's not as simple as that. Let me tell you one or two things. One, the duty is being paid on FOB basis and not on CIF in America. So wherever the shipping charges are high, insurance charges are high, the port handling charges are high, that is all not counted in the duty which is being paid by the exporter. That is the point number one. The point number two, in lot of sectors, clearly there is a hit. I am not saying that there is no hit. There is a hit, but let's say in gems and jewelry, for instance, the value addition is maximum 5-7%. So we are importing and then we are re-exporting. So it's not that, the calculation which is going on in the market. I am saying the life is not as simple as those calculations. And I am very sure that if the government continues this path of deregulation, ease of doing business, there is a lot more money which will come into India from domestic as well as international investors. And as our Commerce Minister said even 2 days back, US issue, and that is the indication which has come from there also, US issue will also get resolved. It is not that it will not get resolved. So this, when we look back, Neeraj, maybe 3-6 months later, we will think that this was like a double bonanza, that because of this issue, the government went actually on a overdrive, and they took a number of steps, and that issue also got resolved.
Kela, you've looked at so many cycles, right? And I'm taking a leaf from your last answer. With a presumption that at some point of time the US issue gets resolved, which is good enough for both sides, by the way, I'm sure, and that's how the government will do it. And this GST bonanza, which definitely gives a great boost for consumption in 2026. Does all of this set the way for the FPI flows to return to the markets? Because that is that one missing factor, right? I mean, that the FPI flows are not there, which are competing with the domestics, and which is why the markets are not really rallying at a good pace. Do you think that set the stage for FPI flows to return?
See, FPI flows, Neeraj, if you look at the base is so high, we are again making such a hue and cry about this week 10 days selling, because on a base of, let's say, $800 billion, if there is $5 billion which is being sold, we should not consider that there is a widespread selling by the foreign institutional investors. Obviously, if there are 100 people, few of them will take a view on various things, including the one which we are facing today. But I would not say there is a rampant selling which is going on from all foreign institutional investors. And FPI is not only what is happening in the country, because if the dollar weakens, then clearly the flows will increase. And I am sure, given the growth story of India, and given what steps the government is taking, and once the US issue gets resolved, the FPI flows will surely reverse.
Point well made. Alex here. I'm just wondering, we've been speaking to people about the implications of a reduction in the rates for a few categories of products. I'm wondering what you think about the second order impact, because we've spoken to a few companies, we've spoken to a few service providers, and what they're also saying is that money saved because of certain reductions will lead to a wider consumption push and move up the value chain do you anticipate that will happen soon, or do you think that it will take some time to trickle through? We've spoken about the income tax cut as well, but I think we're still waiting for that consumption push to take place.
I think this will lead to definitely the process being started, and whatever time it takes, it will take. Let's also not forget one very important factor. Because of the reduction in these rates, I am very confident even the compliance will go up, and whoever was doing, let's say, if we call it, still saving up GST through other means, there is much less incentive to do it now because the rates have come down and various categories are being rationalized. So whatever was non-compliant before this rate reduction will also come into the play, and I am sure that is what the government calculation will also be, that whoever is still trying to avoid GST because of higher rates, once the rates gets rationalized, they will also get more complied. And to your point, Alex, this is a move which will not have only a direct impact, but it will have a lot of indirect impact to aid to the growth of the economy.
So then from that perspective, if you are positioning yourself to capitalize on that, Mr. Kela, and I know that you don't build your portfolio to take advantage of small events or big events. You have an ongoing approach to picking stocks, and you look at valuations as well, you look at earnings and various other factors. As you stand today, and I think we can all agree to say that the Indian growth story, particularly based on the trajectory that we've seen in the recent past, is not going anywhere, whether somebody calls us a dead economy or not. So therefore, how are you positioning yourself at this point in terms of sector play and in terms of taking advantage of the consumption boom that we're likely to see?
My friend, what has worked for me has been always two things. We have always been bottom-up investors, and we look at various sectors, whether it is financial services, whether it is pharmaceutical, whether it is consumption. While we like sectors which have got very good tailwinds, and we look for specific companies within those sectors. So, for instance, for consumption sector, this is a big tailwind which has come. But we'll ultimately look at bottom-up ideas and just not buy because the GST rate has happened. So let me just go ahead and buy all consumption stocks. That's never been our approach, or not been an idea. So we will look for bottom-up investing. But what we look more for, that because of this noise, market gives a lot of collateral damage even to companies and the sectors which are logically should not have this much impact, right? And because of that collateral damage, stock prices become attractive on a selective basis, and because we have a structural good view on India over a very longer period of time, we are actually able to take advantage of those corrections. So I will be very vocal. My list is always ready, that this is what I would like to buy, and these are the prices in the range I would like to buy it. And the last 5-7 days, maybe we would have attempted to buy a few names where we are where we were convinced, but the stock prices were not attractive enough. But the once its stocks became attractive, we obviously pulled the trigger. So just to make it very simple, this is clearly a big positive for India as a whole. It's a very good step, and more important, it's the intent of the government to make sure that they are signaling enough that they are very serious about reforms in India. They are very serious about getting and making sure that our economy stays in a growth path. That is what gives me larger conviction that there might be more measures which will come in the next 3-6 months to ensure that we continue to maintain the growth which we have had. And once we have that kind of a conviction, we are clearly only bottom-up investors, and we'll continue to look for those collateral damages which happen in particular stocks. And as and when the prices become attractive and the risk reward becomes attractive, we'll dip in and buy.
Diwali gift, by the way, from Mr. Kela when we do a Diwali conversation with him around the Samvat. But I know he has a hard stop. Mr. Kela, one final question. Sorry, I know you are a hard stop, but just one final question. I heard you say that you believe some more other measures could come in as well because the GST reforms is the first of the many. What else would you believe is a must do or you expect the most to happen in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 months?
So Neeraj, I would say, there are a lot of things, but what has to come is really ease of doing business and ease of living, because that is what is the most important thing. Like, I just read that there are some 18 permissions which are required to do exports. Now, I am sure a lot of them could be cut, and that is what at least I am betting on, that a lot of the deregulation and ease of doing business will happen, and that is what will spur confidence, and that is what will spur investments into India. The scope is there, Neeraj. You and I know it, that the scope is there. It is just that people get caught sometimes. Like the one brilliant step which the government did, like decriminalization of certain items. I am being told that they are going to do decriminalization of more 1,000 items. Now, of course, when you are doing business, you are most scared that you should not get into anything intentionally or unintentionally which has got criminal implication, right? And once these obvious hurdles gets released, and I am not really hoping that there is something big bang which will happen, but it is that series of steps which will make sure that the ease of doing business and ease of living really improves, and that is what will improve the confidence and lead to higher growth.
Mr. Kela, thank you so much for taking the time out on such a short notice, but such an important day to have your thoughts. Much appreciate, and both Alex and me hope that we speak to you very soon around the new Samvat celebrations. Thank
you so much, Neeraj, and all the best. God bless.
Thank you. That's the big powerhouse voice talking about what these reforms mean.
Gautam Shah joining us next. He's founder Goldilocks Global Research. Gautam, thank you for speaking to us. The pressure is showing. We've opened strong, but staying up there is a bit of a task even now. What are you looking at when you see the index this morning?
Good morning, Tamanna. I think the bigger picture is more important.
Yeah.
I think a year back, the market realized that at these valuations and the way economy was shaping up, there was no way the markets could have run up. I'm talking about last August, September, when we were close to that levels of 26,000. Thereafter, market men realized that there is definitely a problem with the economy. And probably thereafter, you had the government coming in and understanding the situation and taking a very important decision. So I think this can really kickstart the economy. And if it does it, then the market follows a discounting mechanism. And I think it's going to be up and away, because this is probably the only concern which the market was dealing with. Yes, we had Trump factors, the tariff factor to deal with, but that's also more or less discounted. And I think the price action in the last 10 days has been quite encouraging. So as a technician looking at the charts and trying to tie in the fundamentals, I'm tempted to believe that this move today can be durable, can be sustainable, and could potentially lead to a lot more upside on the upside, because anyway, there is a lot of liquidity waiting on the sidelines wanting to come in. So as you see the first signs of stability, which you are seeing today, I think the markets will sustain. From a numbers perspective, 24,850 for me has been an important resistance. We are trading above it right now. And if we do sustain above it today and close above it, I'm tempted to believe that we will move towards levels of 25,200 and eventually 25,600, the point from where we corrected in the recent past, and eventually go back to lifetime highs. Because let's not forget, the world is still in a bull market. India was not a part of the party. Now, possibly with all that has happened, India can be a participant to that global party as well.
Gautam, all I would ask is that eventually seems like so far away. It's, eventually could mean anything. Eventually can be at any timeline. Is there a timeline you have in mind for reverting to lifetime highs on the Nifty?
Yeah, I think in Goldilocks we don't play with words. So for us, eventually would mean 3 to 6 months. And I think markets are very fast these days. You know, if they have to go up or go down, liquidity is immense, momentum is great. So it doesn't take time for the markets to do well. So if we do sustain above 850 levels today, I think over the next 3 to 6 months, we could be approaching lifetime highs. But I still maintain my call that this is a stock pickers market. The bigger opportunities are in the mid caps and the small caps, and that's where one should focus upon.
So, Gautam, we were talking about this earlier as well, because FIs are on heavy shorting right now. How important is it for the FIs to cover their short position to achieve this life high levels yet again? Because it's only the DIIs who are supporting right now.
Well, in some sense, I think the FI selling has not been as important as it was maybe a decade back when the Indian bull market was driven by FI flows. Clearly, I think we all know now that domestic flows have taken center stage. But I think, as you rightly pointed out, given the long-short ratio of the FIs and given the government push, I'm tempted to believe that if the economy does come back over the next couple of quarters, which is looking likely, then I think there will be a case for FIs to, look to cover their shorts and probably move out. However, I think there are immense opportunities in US, in China, and world over. So it's not that India is the best investing market in the world, but at least they will be in a position to cover shorts.
Okay. So in this scenario, Gautam, what are the sectors you would look at? Because a few of them already seeing a run up. Let's take auto for analysis. In auto, you have Escorts, M&M, all of these seeing a move of almost around 7 to 8%. Likewise, you have Aisha, which did not really anticipate a move, but is also trading with some smart gains. Would you still be a buyer at current levels, or you will wait for the heat to settle down right now?
I think the writing has been on the wall for the auto space. I mean, look at what it's done in the last 20 days. It's probably been the best performer. So in some sense, the auto sector knew that something positive is coming. And as I always say, the market is the best judge. And I think this is only the start of a much bigger move for the auto pack. So I'm tempted to believe that the auto index will go back to test lifetime highs. And I think there is easily 15% upside across the board in auto stocks from here. So I would definitely stay committed there. Metals we continue to like. I think I've loved the way the entire metals pack has behaved in the last 10 to 15 days. Look at Hindalco, Nalco, Tata Steel, JSW Steel. I think despite not so great fundamental setup, I think the price action has been encouraging. And I think the time has come for financial services to make a comeback. So insurance companies, housing finance companies, NBFCs, I think that's a big opportunity because 1 month of underperformance in the bank nifty and everybody's gone negative on it. But I think the bigger story is intact and financial services will make a comeback.
And in this, would you prefer the NBFCs or the private banks? Will you be looking at PSU banks? What is the kind of preference over here?
NBFCs for sure. I think the chart setup is very clear. I think and the RBI governor with all that he's done in the last 6 months and the positivity that he brings to the table, it's pretty clear that in the interest rate environment that we are expecting, NBFCs will be a big beneficiaries. The problem with the large private banks is that there is still FI selling happening there. I mean, if you have to sell something in India, it has to be the top few banks. That's probably the reason you'll not see a runaway move, but the smaller NBFCs and even the larger NBFCs, I think, are the big opportunity.
Just trying to understand if you'll see FII flows also reverse. Just your thought there, since you mentioned it. FIIs have been moving out for a certain reason, and largely it is a tariff pushed reason and the impact for the Indian economy, markets, etc. Do you see a bit of that getting cut down and reversing?
Well, let's be realistic. We are in a mega bull market worldwide. I mean, look at US markets. Yesterday, Alphabet was up 9%. It just tells you what's happening around the world. The Chinese market is at a 10-year high. Some of the European markets are at lifetime highs and still going very strong. So in this environment, to pick a market like India from an FI point of view, which is expensive, which has some issues around consumption and economy, might not be the best place. So I think let's not pin our hopes too much on FIs making a comeback and driving this market higher. I still want to believe that it will be domestic driven.
Okay. Gautam, a domestic-driven market, what would it mean in terms of where banks go, because they have been under pressure? Are you seeing a recovery with regards to Bank Nifty, and which are the candidates that you would bet big on now?
For the last 7 to 8 days, we kept highlighting in all our reports that 53,500 is a huge support for the Bank Nifty. Last 4-5 days, we've turned from that number. I'm tempted to believe that a bottom has been made, and there is a high probability of the Bank Nifty gradually moving back to levels of 56 to 57,000. So I think there is definite opportunity. I think a 10% upside on the Bank Nifty over the medium term, say 3 to 6 months, is entirely possible. But I still want to come back to that point that this is going to be a market about mid caps and small caps. That's the place where domestic money is flowing in, and that's the place where FI selling is not happening. And there are a lot of stocks with good valuations, great themes, hotels, travels, power, infrastructure, cement, fertilizer, I think clean energy. I think these are all themes which I think is going to attract a lot of domestic money, and that's where the real opportunity is for the next 6 to 12 months.
Okay, in terms of, I'm just coming back to FMCG for a bit, Gautam, because in terms of volume impact, it's going to be FMCG, right? The mega sort of downtick on rates. And I really liked it when Finance Minister said yesterday, all roti, chapati, paratha, everything is now in one rate. So the direction is very clear that you want to remove all of these unnecessary divisions. Is FMCG a play that you're looking at right now, an HUL and Nestle and ITC, etc.?
Selectively, yes. Let's not forget in the last 1 year, the FMCG index has seen a 25% fall. It's a mirror of the economy, and in the last 1 year, it has seen huge underperformance. But with what has happened in the last 15 days and today's move, it does seem as if at least the bottom has been made. But will it generate alpha over the next 3 to 6 months? I don't think so. I think the bigger opportunity is going to be in some of the other sectors, because many of these FMCG companies, consumption companies, are still very richly valued. So just to expect them to start getting into a new trend because of the GST push in anticipation of consumption picking up, I don't think might be the right strategy. I would still go with some of the top stocks in auto, where I think the visibility is much better.
And what is the pecking order in these top stocks in auto?
Well, I don't want to talk about specific names here, but I think some of the top four-wheeler stocks is something that we like, and I think across the board, the top 5 names will stand out.
Okay, thank you so much, Gautam, for speaking with us. Fast and furious was that interview, as well as was the timeline of that GST decision. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
We see the problems, but you as a social entrepreneur see the solutions. You are not just creating solution, you are creating a future where everyone has a chance to thrive. For the change makers, the innovators, the ones building a better world, one solution at a time. The Adani Green Talk Social Impact Awards are created for you. Green Talk Social Impact Awards 2025, coming soon.
Presenting the all-knowing, all-powerful Tech Guru.
Whoa. Guru? I'm no guru.
Okay.
I'm just a guy who loves his tech.
A show where the mysteries of megabytes and motherboards shall be unraveled.
Bro, nobody talks like that anymore. This is all about connected ecosystems, EVs and AI that you can use in your daily lives. We aren't talking about time travel yet.
Gadgets tested under extreme conditions.
But why? I review tech for people like you and me. You know what? Let me take it from here.
All right.
Tech isn't that complicated. In fact, it's about making our lives simpler, better, and more fun. That's what we do on Tech 360. Real talk, real reviews, tech that you can actually use.
Tech has changed. So should your tech show.
They're the force behind some of India's most respected business empires. But you've rarely heard them speak. Now, for the first time, these leaders open up on succession, conflict, governance, and inheritance. Join me as we step inside boardrooms and living rooms of India's most enduring family businesses for real stories, raw conversation, resilient legacies.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world.
Well, it is as big as it gets in terms of reforms that you can anticipate. It almost seemed like we are preparing for the budget, right? The last 3 years ago, and therefore we've got one of the biggest voices in Indian markets, and arguably from an economic perspective and a corporate perspective, Mr. Ramdeo Agrawal with me right here in their office. Mr. Agrawal, thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
No, thanks for coming here.
No, the pleasure is entirely ours. Love talking to you always. What did you think of this when you saw, one, the changes, but two, the approach of the government to making these changes, Mr. Agrawal?
So obviously it is coming from PMO or PM himself that he is keen, because this level of the complexity, the size, it can be done only with the push coming from the big office. Okay, so that has happened. And they've done it very fast. In fact, faster than we thought. That it would be third and fourth and maybe fourth night tonight. It would have come. But third only they finished the meeting and kind of announced. So I think they're also in hurry. And only thing I couldn't understand is why it is 22nd September. Why there is a gap? Or you do the meeting only on 21st September. I don't know. There must be some bureaucracy or something. So anyway, I think it's big. And I think it will take time for the market to digest. It's so big that it will take time to digest. And maybe people are much more focused on what happens September quarter. And then let me see the demand and all. So I did one thing. I did only research. I called up one of the dealers. And incidentally, he's the dealer for Maruti, TVS, Hero Motocorp. So he's a guy who understands.
Auto.
He said, boss, most likely will not be able to supply the demand surge which is going to happen because of this.
Wow.
So now we have to interpret we have to go and ask many guys. The companies guys will have less feel than the dealers. So I think I think there are 3-4 factors. It's a Lollapalooza effect in the sense that one is the credit flow. Okay, because we killed the momentum last year by bringing down the credit flow from 17-18% to 8-9%. You can't grow this economy at 11-12% if your credit flow is 8-9%.
Right.
No way.
Right.
I don't know whatever was the economic logic for that. They would know. The regulators would know. But now Now even FM and government wants the credit flow to increase. And inflation, which was the main problem, that is also well under control. So now we have a credit flow, we have liquidity flow with the CR cut, and then now you have the GST cut. So all three have come together, and there is a push from the whatever power that be, regulators and everybody, to push the economy forward. So I think this all the three things, the rate cut, flow cut, I mean the availability of liquidity, and now GST. I think we are going to see the second half, and now bumper monsoon also. So there are a lot of factors which are coming together. I would think that, and then first quarter GDP growth of 7.8%. I don't know how much extrapolatable it is, but it's a good news.
Yeah.
At least all the economists are wrong. So what I'm saying is we are sitting on something very good, and it can't get any better. And I only hope that there is no, will not get, because some of the guys I was talking to yesterday in my conference, and they were saying, sir, we are hearing that they are going to tinker with the input credits, and also I only hope there is no hidden, in this to cut the thing, and the impact, the revenue impact they're talking about is 45,000 crores for the current year. So it must be obviously to do with the second half. So the total impact on annualized basis would be 90,000 crores. I'm quite sure if, even if this is the level of impact, of course, 90,000 lakh crore relief we have not seen ever. So, but it will have a huge, multiplier effect, and I think the bounce in the volume bulk of it will be covered in 1 year, 1.5 years. I would think so. If the credit, apart from the GST cut, credit flow is very important. They must make sure that credit is available in the economy, and it is, the cost of credit is also important.
Right.
So they should also hammer the system that nobody should profiteer out of this.
Yeah.
Everything should be, every drop of it must go to the consumer.
Right.
So that is very important, and I think it will happen because competition is enough in the system. Banks are cutting each other. Now NBFCs will do very well, so there would be competition out there. But NBFCs, to get the liability so that they can disburse, that has to be again the bank. So I think banks have a major role to play to make this GST rollout successful, because it's not because if you cut the price, but if you don't give me credit, again things will not happen.
That's true.
So combination of credit and affordability, it should do wonder.
मुझे याद है we were sitting upstairs for one of the interviews, तभी you had told me कि Neeraj, the government needs to move on reforms, ease of doing business, etc. Do you think, sir, this is the start of some of the things? This is the big bang start, and some other measures are due to come?
The thought process is absolutely right. But you have to my guys are poor. I have very limited purchasing power. Though now, if you can't increase my purchasing power, make the things cheaper so that I can buy, instead of 5 units, I can buy 6. But that one extra unit, in any case, you charge me 25-30% income tax. Uske upar jab main kharchne, when I go to buy, you charge me 28 and then 40% cess laga ke. We don't get anything. My rupee doesn't buy. Per se, I earn less dollar, and the dollar doesn't buy. What is the fun? So I think my rupee should become much. In fact, as you keep reducing the taxes on the people, the power of rupee will go up big time. भाई आपको 100 रुपये मिलता है, 100 रुपया आपको लंच खरीद सकता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि लंच 100 रुपये कुछ नहीं है. Like 1 rupee doesn't buy anything, but $1 buys. So that the currency should buy a lot more.
Right.
That is very very important, and that can happen only if you because taxes, they're they're cascading in the sense that you charge somewhere 18 and then it घूम फिर के और कहाँ लगते आता है. At the end of it you get very little.
Got it.
So I think this is one thing, the style of it, the size and the impact with which they are doing it. I hope this, and I hope my optimism bears out.
आज market में इतना दिख नहीं रहा है, sir.
I'm very surprised. So I could be wrong, market could be wrong, only time will tell. So but I'm very excited about it. And I showed you the tweet. I sent it to my investment team that they are saying that, and it is going to start. See, 50% of manufacturing is automobile. So I think the biggest impact will be on automobile demand. Two-wheelers, why should it be so expensive? 110cc bike you charge 28%. We got to be ashamed of it. So सीमेंट वो मिट्टी है, 4 रुपये 5 रुपये केजी का आइटम है, उसमें भी आप 28 टका चार्ज करते हो. तो आई थिंक वन थिंग आई वुड से दैट दिस एरेटेड वाटर, उसको सिन कैटेगरी में डाल दिया. यार वो पान गुटखा और my aerated drink are two different things. I mean, it's a basic necessity for any economy. I think they should not categorize as sin. At least that looks very bad. So apart from that, I think everything is very good. And let's see. I mean, the action is yet to start. I mean, the only show is announced.
Yeah. So, sir, do you believe that एक तो income tax cuts हुए थे 12,000 per month, then the RBI has reduced rates and therefore maybe borrowing could be cheap. Nowadays, are we set for a bumper Dashera, Diwali and the period to follow?
आपको कंपनी वालों से बात करो बिकॉज मैं तो यहाँ बैठा हूँ.
आज कंपनी वालों से बात करी, they were all very hopeful, very very bullish.
हो गया ना अभी तो नाउ इफ्स एंड बट्स नहीं है ना. अभी तो इफ्स एंड बट्स नहीं. अभी तो क्या ठीक है, एक अनसर्टेनिटी है ये यूएस का, वो 25% वाला जो है, तो वो जब होगा तब होगा. वी स्पोक टू पीयूष गोयल जी, ही केम टू द कॉन्फ्रेंस एंड ऑल, एंड सो ही सेड, आई मीन वी आर इन नेगोशिएशन, चैनल्स आर ओपन. I mean, some sanity will prevail, but it may take a month to whatever this geopolitical stuff. So anyway, that's apart from that, I don't see any clouds on the this thing horizon, because now see, just look at the flow. See, you can stock market is all about combination of things. I mean, one is the purchasing power. So you are seeing massive flow of domestics. Last month they bought 95,000 crores. And still building up, okay. That too, despite that very lackluster performance in 12 months. If you give 15-20% performance in next 1 year, I mean, I don't know. Maybe in 1.5-2 years time, we might be at 1.5 lakh crore, 2 lakh crore per month DI flow. So I think, and that has also got a role to play in the stock market performance. And the performance leads to the flow, and flow leads to the performance.
Vicious,
virtuous cycle can come. And once the performance comes, then the risk money flows into the real economy. So now the real economy should have demand. The moment you have demand, the entrepreneur, see, they keep saying the private capex is not. अरे private capex हुआ क्यों भाई? मेरा capacity already नहीं बिक रहा है. If I have a capacity for 6 million motorcycle and my demand is 5, why do you expect me to put up another 2 million? But now demand will not be 6, demand will be 8. And you just watch what exactly happens to the new capex announcement by these guys. They will go at double the speed. And then you must not miss out on that. As policymakers, you must encash on that. Okay, now I'm at 18, can I make it 15? And will you put up another 5 plants? And they should also be businessmen, na? At the end of it, in 12 months time, we'll know whether it was a good business or not to cut the, this GST rates. Right. Was it better to be at 28, and is it better to be at 18? At 28, you might be collecting, say, X number. But what jobs are there? There is no incremental job creation. At 18, you will collect more money and jobs will be a lot more.
Right. You expect, sir, that the impact of something like this on the private capex could happen in as soon as 6 months or 12 months, or could it take slightly longer?
See, once the businessman sees that, boss, one is that one-time effect. Most of I was talking to my analyst, he said, Ramdeo ji, एक बार तो effect आएगा, लेकिन क्या होगा उसके आगे? So they have to also see this is a compounded effect.
Right.
The impact is compounded, because what will happen is that you buy, instead of 100 cars, instead of buying say 3 million cars, you start buying say 4 million cars. Okay. Now that 1 million more car, and then what they're thinking that it will go to 4 million, then it stayed 4 million. No. The whole thing will have that effect. Because your credit growth is year on year.
Yes.
So if you bring down from 18% to 8%, what happens is that you take out the purchasing from the power from the system. So the growth in the GDP, so GDP doesn't decelerate, it doesn't decrease. The deceleration happens because you have taken away the purchasing power from the system.
Right.
The 10 lakh or 20 lakh crores extra credit you give, that is additional purchasing power you are injecting in the system. And now you are saying that while you are injecting 20 lakh crore of purchasing power, you are also making things cheaper. So it will buy not only 20 lakh rupees worth more, but it will buy maybe 22-23 lakh crore quantum kind of a thing. So, I mean, I'm not an economist, you speak to economists guys, but
nobody
I think
say these things much better, sir, which is I'm asking you.
Yeah, so since I don't have the privilege of using some economics words,
economic jargon, but you can explain it.
हाँ, so मैं एक businessman के हिसाब से या जो समझ के हिसाब से common मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, but I don't know. I mean, while I'm talking to you, I'm even more excited कि ये होने वाला है पक्का, हम बताओ ना, जो stock market का boom जो है ना, जो onboarding का जो digital onboarding का जो मजा आया है कि 3 लाख से 30 लाख कस्टमर आ रहे हैं रोज, मतलब ये सब पूरा तमारी बदल जाएगा, ये कहानी बदल। हमको इंडिपेंडेंस मिला है 5 साल पहले, 75 साल पहले तो खाली पॉलिटिकल इंडिपेंडेंस मिला है। आप देखना सही इसका इफेक्ट। ये भी दूसरा इंडिपेंडेंस है, ये जीएसटी का जो 28 से 18 जो है ना, ये कहानी है। आई ओनली होप दैट द नेक्स्ट relooking happens much earlier. I mean, the policymakers must learn from this. I hope, and they'll learn. I mean, let's see what happens in next 12 months is going to be very important. Markets, of course, markets are there to encash on the earnings explosion. Earnings will surge. Okay, and there's enough buyers. So the moment earnings come, what is going to happen?
Sir, so एक question, right? Earnings. No, of course not, sir. वो तो क्या है, आपसे वो नहीं. But if earnings are due to surge, if DII money might go hopefully to the numbers that you were talking about, right? That's a headline for me, right? That 1.5 lakh crore से 2 lakh crore this thing. हाँ, हो सकता है in 2-3 years, whatever it is. और अभी तक FI पैसा आया नहीं है. If all of that comes in,
don't count on FI.
Don't count on it
because वो उनके आउट ऑफ सिलेबस उनके लिए. इंडिया इज आउट ऑफ सिलेबस, आई एम टेलिंग यू. क्योंकि क्या है, उनके लिए बहुत सारे ऑप्शन है. वो हमेशा चाइना से कंपेयर करेंगे. वहाँ पर ये बायदू ये भाव मिलता है, इसका ये भाव मिलता है. मतलब भाई तू उधर कंपेयर कर, भाई अब करो क्या, मतलब उसको. एंड सी दे आर नॉट सीइंग द कि पैसे कहाँ बनेंगे. दे आर कंपेयरिंग द कंपनीज, दे आर नॉट लुकिंग द स्टॉक प्राइस. दीज आर 2 different थिंग्स. आई माइट गेट, मैं बोला चीप खरीदना रशिया जाओ, मैं आपको 2 का पी मिल जाएगा, लेकिन पैसे नहीं बनेंगे ना आपके. आपको पैसे बनाना है कि खाली पी मल्टीपल देखना है. तो वो पी मल्टीपल देख रहे हैं और हम लोग पैसे कमा रहे हैं.
This is another headline. रामदेव जी, I know आप busy हो, तो one last question sir, लेकिन फिर भी कि if all of this were to happen, right? Is this a big boost to the economy, right? Because now we've seen the power of the stock markets helping the economy at large, and in this fashion, this will be a big boost.
Now, bada wealth. See, when market goes up by 20%, what base we're talking about? Now it is 125% of GDP. My GDP is say 350 lakh crores in the current year expected. Okay, my market cap is 475 lakh crores. 475 will go up by 20%. तो कितना होगा?
5.5 पौने 6.
100 लाख करोड़ से बढ़ेगा, 90 से 100 लाख करोड़ से बढ़ेगा. मेरा जीडीपी बढ़ेगा 30-40 लाख से. एंड बॉस, इज रियल मनी इन द हैंड्स. मार्केट कैप इंक्रीज इज रियल. सो द काइंड ऑफ वेल्थ इफेक्ट विच इज गोना हैपन नाउ, वहाँ पर क्या सरकार को समझाना पड़ेगा कि भाई थोड़ा कैपिटल गेन्स हो रहा है, सब मतलब यूज इट टू योर एडवांटेज. मेरे को कुछ, आई डोंट वांट एनी टैक्स रिलीफ पर्सनली, बट you got to the way you are using this thing, you should use the capital market even bigger than the real economy. The real economy will be driven by the capital market, and capital market can drive the real. In fact, the biggest strength of US is not their economy, it is the capital market of theirs. $65 trillion. The kind of wealth effect they have when it goes up by 20% is like 12-13 trillion dollars, boss. So what that magic machine is there with India also.
Yes.
So how do we use that innovatively? वो बहुत important है. वो पॉलिसी मेकर को साथ में लाने का कि भाई स्टॉक मार्केट भी एक मशीन है, ऐसा RBI है, सेबी है, GST है, ऐसा ये भी एक मशीन है.
So lovely talking to you, Mr. Agrawal. Thank you so much for taking the time out. No, I would have loved to do this any which ways, but today was a special day.
Let's welcome in R.C. Bhargav, Chairman at Maruti Suzuki, to get his reaction as a veteran to the industry. Mr. Bhargav, welcome to the show. Your initial reaction with regards to the boost the auto sector could get from here on?
I think the reforms in terms of the GST restructuring is one of the most massive, important pieces of new actions which the government has taken for a long time. I think it is going to have a huge impact on the economy. I think most of us are underestimating its value. We will see how it will energize the people now, and the customer particularly will suddenly find that things have changed for him. The income tax relief came to him. On top of that, the repo rates have been coming down, interest rates have finally started coming down. We have more money now in the pockets of the customer in the future because household expense items have all become cheaper. So net, there's far more purchasing power with the customer, and he will look upon this Diwali as a time to go on a shopping binge.
Go on a shopping binge. That's interesting, Mr. Bhargav. So, will purchasing power then return with just the GST cut?
It reduces the retail price of a small car by 8.5% to 9%. That is significant. For a car costing 5 to 6 lakhs, it means something like a 50,000 rupee reduction.
Right, we're talking about a 50,000 reduction, but will this person actually have that 5.5 lakhs to begin with?
No, earlier on when the prices went up, he didn't have all these other things with him either. Over the last 2-3, these prices have been going up for the last 5 years. During this period, partly his incomes have gone up. This year particularly, as I said, his other expenses have come down and his income tax has given him more money. Now the price has come down to by 50,000 rupees, which sets off at least part of the price increase which has taken place. So altogether, it should make a difference to his purchasing ability.
Okay, so that's with regards to where purchasing ability goes. What's the impact, Mr. Bhargav, that you're seeing when you talk about the, vehicles that come under the 40% tax bracket?
We are in the 40% tax bracket also. We sell maybe about 30% of our cars in that tax bracket. Only about 70% of our cars are in the lower tax bracket. And there also we will see a slight price improvement because the tax was 43-45%. That's coming down to 40%. And overall, I think the car industry will benefit to the extent that the slackness in the growth rate will now, I think, change. And we'll see a revival of the growth of the car industry. And it should reach what used to be the normal 7 to 8% a year.
So industry is looking at 7 to 8% kind of growth on the back of this, Mr. Bhargav. But what's the kind of volume growth that you see for Maruti?
I can't tell you the volume at the moment, but all I can say is that we see the growth rate going up, and the growth rate for small cars going up to 10% a year, for the overall business going up by about 7 to 8% a year in the course of the next 6 months.
Okay, so overall volume growth is something that the street should be eyeing from here on as well. Mr. Bhargav, the other question we have is, how does compliance change from here on?
It's certainly easier to manage tax now when there are 2 slabs and not so many definitions of what is a paratha and what is a naan and what is what. The lack of discretion which now has been brought in, that things are just one category, is going to make both enforcement, compliance, everything much easier.
I think a la carte is better than the buffet is what you're coming through from here on. Is this an advantage for EVs then, Mr. Bhargav?
No, if anything, it'll make it less attractive, no, because other vehicles have become cheaper. But the electric vehicles are having a special category anyway. 5% is a very comfortable rate of tax.
Okay, so yes, absolutely. Your EVs do become less attractive because your other vehicles are getting cheaper. Mr. Bhargav, we do remember that you have been slightly lukewarm when it comes to EVs earlier as well, the adoption when it comes to electric vehicles. Do you see that changing from here on?
Both EVs, hybrids are both going to grow over time. That's happening world over. If you look at Europe, you look at America, you look at China, everywhere both EVs and hybrids are growing. It's not one or the other. And I think India will be having the same sort of development in the years to come.
Right, I mean, EVs is something that you should look at. Adoption is the key from here on. But thank you so much, Mr. Bhargav, for joining us on the show.
Let me take you through a couple of these models and let me try and give you a perspective as to what the discounts possibly could be on some of these cars. This is, of course, the Tiguan R-Line, and it has an on-road price of around 62 lakhs, which means that the reduced GST rate will likely give the buyer a cool saving of 4.5 lakh rupees. This is now the Virtus, and again, all of these are 4-meter plus cars. So that's something you want to keep in mind, that these are not the budget cars. This is for around 23 lakhs currently on road. And again, the saving on this would be roughly 1.5 lakh, which is not bad at all, given the kind of ticket size that the car operates at. This one is the Tygoon, of course, and again very similar ticket size to the Virtus at this point on road. So again, 1.5 lakh odd of saving that we might well see on this one as well. But I'm joined in by Shailesh Bilai, and he has been, of course, he's a veteran, as you'll see as he comes on the screen, and I had a very interesting conversation with him. Sir, you've been, of course, interacting with your customers over the last week or so. What is the sense you're getting? Do you believe that this GST rate cut will egg them on to buy the car? Is this what they are waiting for?
Yes, we do agree with that, because what happened, we interact with the customers, they're taking the test drive, they like the car, in fact they choose the color also, but they're saying just wait for few minutes or few days, because we're expecting GST and it will take a bomb price to us, because we love the car, but we take the advantage, why not? When government is giving to GST subsidies that, so definitely we'll wait, and just let me know when the price will come, definitely will come, and we'll go for it.
So customers waiting on the price essentially. But Mr. Shailesh, give us this perspective. This price cut, how quickly, what are you doing in terms as a store to try and close the deal? Because that's the other piece which you would really want to do. This period of uncertainty creates a little bit of hesitation for the customer. How are you closing the deal?
What we do, the customers, that definitely what we promise we have to give. So you do one thing, you do the pre-bookings. Okay, and whatever benefits are there, now I'm giving the particular price, but whatever price difference is there, definitely will help you out, and we'll complete the deal and we'll give that price to you. There's no issues, but book the car, so you'll get the advantage. So last moment should not, मेरे को अभी गाड़ी चाहिए, अभी मेरा मुहूर्त है. Now Dussehra is coming nearby.
Yes.
And people are waiting for that, because it's an auspicious day, and all the automobiles, Dussehra is a boom.
Right.
People are buying the car, particularly on that auspicious day. But what happened particularly about this, now here, this year we have two problems. One is GST, and Friday onwards, as you know, the Indians are superstitious. So Pitru Paksh starts. So they don't do anything on that. So to avoid that and to get the delivery on auspicious day, what we told the customers, that do the pre-booking. So at least whatever price benefit, definitely we'll give you, but at least we can call the car and we'll give the benefit for that.
We see the problems, but you as a social entrepreneur see the solutions. You are not just creating solution, you are creating a future where everyone has a chance to thrive. For the change makers, the innovators, the ones building a better world, one solution at a time. The Adani Green Talk Social Impact Awards are created for you. Green Talk Social Impact Awards 2025, coming soon.
Presenting the all-knowing, all-powerful Tech Guru.
Whoa. Guru? I'm no guru.
Okay.
I'm just a guy who loves his tech.
A show where the mysteries of megabytes and motherboards shall be unraveled.
Bro, nobody talks like that anymore. This is all about connected ecosystems, EVs and AI that you can use in your daily lives. We aren't talking about time travel yet.
Gadgets tested under extreme conditions.
But why? I review tech for people like you and me. You know what? Let me take it from here.
All right.
Tech isn't that complicated. In fact, it's about making our lives simpler, better, and more fun. That's what we do on Tech 360. Real talk, real reviews, tech that you can actually use.
Tech has changed. So should your tech show.
They're the force behind some of India's most respected business empires. But you've rarely heard them speak. Now, for the first time, these leaders open up on succession, conflict, governance, and inheritance. Join me as we step inside boardrooms and living rooms of India's most enduring family businesses for real stories, raw conversation, resilient legacies.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in?
Good evening, you're watching NDTV Profit and I'm Sanjana. Today we're bringing you the show not from the comfort of our studio but from one of Mumbai's most bustling markets, the Dadar market, which is all behind me, which is really the heart and soul of India's retail economy. Now just yesterday the government actually confirmed that now the GST structure would in fact change and make it more simplified and potentially life would get easier and cheaper. But let's see if this revised tax structure and the two main tax slabs is actually going to impact small businesses here. So come, let's take a look. We're currently at a store called Canopy and I'm here with the owner. आप अपना नाम बताएंगे प्लीज?
हसमुख फरिया.
हसमुख फरिया, कितने सालों से आप ये दुकान चला रहे हो?
15 years हो गया ऑलमोस्ट.
15 years. अच्छा तो ये बताइए जब GST पहला जब इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ तो आपका रिस्पॉन्स क्या था उस टाइम?
मतलब वो सब बिलिंग वगैरह को लेकर कैसा करेगी क्या करेगी वो थोड़ा सब दिक्कत था. लेकिन जैसे आया फिर उतना लगा कि इजी ऐसा कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा इतना.
और अब जो सरकार ने जो अनाउंसमेंट किया है 2.0 का जो लागू होने वाला है, हाँ नया वाला, उससे आपको फर्क पड़ने वाला है, नुकसान होने वाला है क्या?
नहीं, इसमें फायदा ही होगा. इसमें हमारा जो 12% का स्लैब था जो 1000 के ऊपर, तो उससे अभी टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री में से 5% में आ गया है. तो उसमें बिलिंग वगैरह में थोड़ा इजी हो जाएगा. पहले क्या CA को थोड़ा दिक्कत होता था बिलिंग 1000 के अंडर का और उसके ऊपर का सब देने मैनेज करना है. तो ये हमारा फायदा है, मतलब सीधा सबसे सेम रहेगा 5%.
अच्छा, तो ये बताइए, तो आप ये बोल रहे हो कि आपका फायदा होगा बिकॉज देर इज लेस हेडेक, राइट? दैट्स व्हाट ही इज सेइंग, व्यूअर्स, बिकॉज अर्लियर द प्रोसेस फॉर जीएसटी फाइलिंग वाज अ लिटिल बिट टफ एंड नाउ विद द स्लैब्स एक्चुअली जस्ट कमिंग डाउन टू 2, उससे आपको क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? बिकॉज द प्रोसेस विल स्टे द सेम, नो?
प्रोसेस में, लेकिन सब अकाउंट्स वगैरह 1000 के ऊपर, उसके लिए अलग से बिल बुक उसको सीए को देना पड़ता था। इसके 12% वाला है, ये 5% वाला है, तो सब अभी दिक्कत हट गई, अभी डायरेक्ट सब 5% में ही चले जाएगा।
ओके, एंड आपके कंज्यूमर्स या कस्टमर्स जो आके यहाँ पे, और अब फेस्टिव सीजन स्टार्ट होने वाला है, स्टार्ट हो गया है, तो उनको क्या फर्क पड़ेगा?
उनको थोड़ा इफेक्ट पड़ेगा, थोड़ा 12% का है तो सीधा 5% में आएगा, तो ऑलमोस्ट थोड़ा रेट कम हो जाएगा। 1000 के ऊपर मतलब 50-70 रुपए आगे पीछे हो जाएगा।
जो मोदी जी ने प्रॉमिस किया था दिवाली धमाका, अभी
सच में हो रहा है। लगता है ऐसा गिरा कि थोड़ा खुलेगा एक्स्ट्रा। अभी थोड़ा क्या स्लैक सीजन चल रहा है, तो अभी से 1 महीना पहले कर दिया तो दिवाली थोड़ा अच्छा जाएगा, ऐसा लग रहा है।
क्या आपको लगता है कि ये जो नया जो अभी स्ट्रक्चर उन्होंने लागू किया है 22 सितंबर से ये अभी स्टार्ट होने वाला है, इसमें आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम नजर आती है?
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ प्रॉब्लम तो है नहीं, ऐसा सब इजी है, कोई टेंशन नहीं ऐसा।
ओके, थैंक यू सो मच।
ओके।
All right. So there you heard it from Hasmukh Faria, who has been running the store Canopy for the last 15 years, that initially the GST filing and the structure of it was a little bit of a headache, but now, like most small businesses, he's also welcoming the government's move. Let's take you now to other small businesses in the other market and find out how they are reacting. Along with a lot of small businesses that are in Dadar market in Mumbai, these are one of the larger showrooms. Suvidha is actually a store that is synonymous with Indian ready-made garments and wedding and festive wear, and they seem to be slightly differently impacted from the new proposed tax structure. Let's go actually speak with the manager and get you all of the details. Come on. We're currently at Suvidha, a name that is synonymous with everything to do with Indian ready-made and wedding and festive season garments. And here I'm actually standing with Pratish. Pratish, can you tell me a little about yourself, how long you've been running this store?
This store is more than 40 years, and I am here last 20-25 years here. And it's opposite the other station. Suvidha is famous for everybody, and it's a complete family shop. Everybody knows about it. It's a wedding, casual, formal, party wear, one-stop shop for everybody. We are very famous internationally and India based, and we are located at a very right location, and it's known by everyone.
Absolutely. So let's get down to the serious stuff. The government made a late night announcement last evening and revised the tax structure for GST. How is the store and your business perceiving this revised tax structure?
So still now it's just was happiness till yesterday. Yeah, we are going to get a good GST. That 12% is going to become 5% now and everything. But overnight the things are changed. It's totally changed because they have made on the MRP, which is that 2,500 MRP, which is going to come up. On that, the 12% GST is going to become 18% GST. So, I'm going to repeat it again, that less than 2,500, which was 12%, is going to become 5%. But, which is more than 2,500, the MRP means the GST will change from 5, it will not be 12, it will be 18% now. So, the MRP is going to increase. So, my structure, wedding structure, means it's in suit, sherwani, sari, dresses, bridal, everything. Sorry, not sari. Sari is going to be 5% itself, but other things, the product, the MRP will be changed approx about 10% of the MRP.
Okay, let's simplify this for our viewers, okay? And I want you to show me what you mean when you say this.
I'll
okay?
just show you something.
Yeah.
That
Come.
you can, So these are some products which is 6,000, right?
Okay.
You are paying 12% GST. This is more than 2,500, about 2,500. So the price is going to increase by 10% on it. So approx 500 rupees the price will increase in this. So the GST is going to be increasing by 12 to 18%. So approx it will 10% of the MRP it will be changing. We also not calculate perfectly. 8 to 10% MRP will increase from the 22nd what the government has changed the rules that. The major junk of the garments, the major Indian wedding garments, all the MRPs like dresses, salwar kameez, bridal cholis, everything, the price are going to be 10% increase. So it is going to be a difficult time, and it is just a late night. You just got up in the morning and the mails and WhatsApp are just shooted out, and it's so difficult that so much of things have been changing. So we was just about that. Yeah, the GST will come 5%. Will be very easy, but this 18% is very difficult.
Right. Okay. So there you had it, Pratish, giving us the lowdown from Suvidha. And we're getting a little bit of a mixed bag here in Dadar market about whether the GST and the new structure is actually making life easier or then maybe potentially bad for business. All right. Let's take you through some other businesses as well. So the future certainly looks bright on paper because now the government has reduced GST from 12% to 5% on corrective lenses and glasses. So you can see better and your glasses will be cheaper. But let's find out whether that is the reality for many independent opticians such as this one in Dadar that are running on tight margins. Let's find out. Hi sir, what is the name of your store and how long have you been running it?
My shop name is Dabolkar and Sons Opticians. Okay. It has started from 1960, 65 years old.
And you have owned it all this time?
Yeah, my father was the owner. Now I am running the shop.
All right. So yesterday the government made a very important announcement, and it has made the tax that you currently charge, the GST that you currently charge on corrective lenses from 12% to 5%. So how are you viewing this?
This will definitely benefit our business because it is 7% reduction is very much. So it will definitely increase the customer flow.
Would you say that you tend to benefit from this, or does most of the benefit go to wholesalers?
No, it's not. Wholesaler also will pass on to us. We will pass on to the customers. The end consumer will benefit definitely.
I understand that you're an independent optician, right? And you are in Dadar, where I'm sure you must be helping a lot of senior citizens. You must be helping a lot of young students and children. Was there any time an aversion or people felt demotivated कि यार ये नहीं खरीदना, ये नहीं लेना है क्योंकि GST काफ़ी ज़्यादा है इस पे?
GST ज़्यादा पहले था तो अभी थोड़ा रिड्यूस हो गया है तो उससे थोड़ा फ़ायदा हो सकता है क्योंकि वो 7% का मेन जो रिडक्शन हो गया है उसकी वजह से कस्टमर को भी अभी बहुत एडवर्टीजमेंट वगैरह भी न्यूज़पेपर में आया है फ्रंट पेज पे कि उसमें रिडक्शन हो गया ये हो गया तो कस्टमर का अवेयरनेस भी बढ़ गया है तो वो लेकिन ये जो इफेक्ट होने है 22 सितंबर से ही है तो तब तक वेट करेंगे देखेंगे क्या होता है फ़ायदा.
मैं अगर आपसे ये पूछूं कि आपके जो बिजनेस में हैं, आपके जो फ्रेंड्स हैं, आई एम श्योर देयर आर मेनी पीपल इन दिस सेक्टर, व्हाट वुड यू से जो what the challenges were in filing, in process? आप कितना समय और पैसा डालते थे every month for GST?
वो तो GST का तो एवरी मंथ फाइल करना पड़ता था, वो डेट का ये रहता है, नहीं फाइल के तो फाइन भी बहुत होता था. वो तो रहेगा, वो तो उसमें कुछ फ़र्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है क्योंकि वो तो क्या सिर्फ अपना 7% रिड्यूस हो गया उतना ही, बाकी वो जो पेपर वर्क है वो तो रहने ही वाला है, उसमें कुछ फ़र्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है.
ओके, एंड माई लास्ट क्वेश्चन टू यू, डू यू फील लाइक अगर आपने कुछ कस्टमर्स खोए हैं वो वापस आएंगे ये GST के रिविजन के बाद?
होप सो, ऐसा ही होप करेंगे क्योंकि वो तो बोल नहीं सकते, लेकिन रिड्यूस हो गया तो होप करेंगे, होप फॉर द बेस्ट.
ऑल राइट, आई होप दैट द फ्यूचर इज वेरी ब्राइट फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. थैंक यू, थैंक यू. There you heard it. This is from the owner of Dabolkar and Sons, an independent optician in Dadar market that has welcomed the new move. But let's actually find out from other businesses in the area whether this is beneficial or not. As we go into festive season, perhaps one of the most attractive parts of this revised tax structure is going to be the benefit that consumers get on electronics. To get more details on this, let me quickly go over to my colleague Mahima, who had a word with the folks at Vijay Sales and even spoke with the Retailers Association of India. Mahima, over to you.
I'm here with Jayan Baheti, who is the president of Sanatan Textiles and also a member of Retail Association. I was trying to have a conversation with him to understand as to what this GST 2.0 means for the entire retail space. Mr. Baheti, I'll come to you and firstly ask you as to how is this being viewed by the Retail Association when it comes to the consumer durable space, to be specific.
At the onset, I would like to thank Prime Minister and GST Council for carrying out a big reform which will boost up our demand for the consumers and at lower cost. And it's a festival season going ahead, so they have done this at the right time so that demand will definitely boost up and consumers will be happy and we shall be happy because our goods will be sold more.
Absolutely. Just give us a perspective as to how much of an uptick are you expecting in terms of demand, overall growth. What is the kind of growth that you're penciling in terms of percentage? Any idea if you can give a rough range of growth and demand that you will be able to see because of this GST boost?
It will be to quantify, it will be too early, but it will definitely, demand will increase by not less than 20 to 30%. Immediately, and it's a festive season, so I think December quarter and September quarter will be fabulous for the industry and the sector, especially the garment and textile which I am representing. So people are just waiting for the notification so the duty gets passed on to them.
Absolutely. I think and garment is one industry which, where you see demand being very elastic, correct? And because of that, I think garment sector is also set to benefit because of this GST 2.0. Just want to understand as to what's the view of the entire association when it comes to garment as a sector?
Yeah, it will definitely boost up the garment sector and it will neutralize the tariff that has been imposed by Trump government. So we are also looking forward to a boost of demand and already inquiries have started and bookings have started for the September quarter and end.
Do you think it will completely neutralize the kind of tariffs that are anticipated to be imposed because of the GST 2.0?
Not completely, but to an extent.
To an extent, okay, understood.
And it will take some time to completely neutralize it, but what happened, unfortunately, government has missed some leg in this. Like we are the MFF manufacturers. So we still stuck up in the duty inverted structure, and unfortunately earlier the gap was 6%, now it has increased to 13%. And though pent up demand is there from the retail sector and all this, but for us to take the manufacturing expansion, we don't, the capital, our duty gets stuck in the capital goods.
Right.
So that we are not getting the benefit.
Understood. All right.
So I think before 22nd September, the government may take this correction and neutralize everything and make it, and it is revenue neutral because already they are giving us the refunds.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's the view with regards to where the retail associations and that's the move. It's very much appreciated. This particular move by the by the government for GST 2.0.
While we get you the pulse of India's retail economy that is here in small thriving bazaars, I'm going to take you now to New Delhi with my colleague Danish Anand, who actually visited a couple of showrooms to figure out how the auto sector was taking this good news. We understand that they're heaving a sigh of relief, especially with the boost to smaller vehicles. Danish, over to you.
Well, dealerships across the country are eagerly awaiting for 22nd September. That's from when the new GST rates will be applicable. And everyone is just waiting for customers to walk into the showrooms, book their cars and go out and drive. To be very quite honest, the GST from an auto perspective has been a win-win situation for almost all the players, especially from a buyer's perspective, as the government has decided to reduce GST on small cars from 28 plus 1% cess to 18%, which will definitely give a boost to small cars. But if you want to buy a diesel car, even the diesel cars under 100 to 1500 cc engines, they will be also charged at 18%. Similarly, when it comes to SUVs, we are seeing that SUVs is the is a flavor of the entire country, right from compact SUVs to mid SUVs. Not only buyers, but even companies are very aggressive when it comes to SUVs. So even SUVs from a tax perspective, they will be charged at 40%. Earlier, if we include its cess, it was somewhere around 42 to 48%, but now this will be coming down to 40%. So it will be a boost not only for the users, but also for the companies, as we are seeing that this GST rate cut has come in that point in time when we also saw certain action from the RBI a few weeks back when it comes to interest rate. So from a buyer's perspective, the loan rates would be cheaper, your GST outflow will be less. So this is a really great time for anyone to buy a car or maybe a bike even.
Well, again, I'm here at Volkswagen downtown, and I have with me Mr. Rishabh Sheth, who's the managing director here. And of course, it'll be great to get a pulse from you as to how customers are currently thinking. So first off, let me try and get that pulse. You've probably had conversations with customers over the last week or so. Are customers differing the close of a transaction, or are they keen to close? And what is the conversation that's happening today? What has changed?
Sure. So after the Honorable Prime Minister made the announcement of the likely GST cut on 15th August, of course customers were sort of deferring their purchases because they were waiting for some kind of clarity to come in, and they were expectant of a reduction in the GST. So with the GST Council meet taking place very quickly on, yesterday, within 15 days of the announcement, I think it's great that the government has come out with this clarity and the reduction in the GST. So things will definitely change. I think the last couple of weeks people were holding back, they were deferring their purchases, but now I'm sure they are also equally keen to get the cars at the reduced prices.
Right, and what are you doing to try and push them to commit to the purchase? Because like you, there are plenty of other car dealers not just selling Volkswagen but other brands as well. Sure. So what is it that you are doing to try and hook them and commit to you?
So we're at the annual of the festive season. The Navratris and Diwali season will begin very soon. Stocks are limited all across. So I would urge customers, and we would also sensitize customers to make their decision now, so they can book the cars now. The new effective rates are from 22nd of September. So post that, we would quickly invoice the vehicles to them and give it to them as soon as we can in the festive season. So it would help if they are able to decide and make a booking of the car or commit to the purchase now, so that we are able to secure a vehicle for them. Because after that, it might be difficult with the impending demand that we would see with this GST cut. I think it might be a little difficult to get cars of their choice. So currently, they would at least be able to secure cars of their choice, as well as get the new pricing post 22nd and delivery on the festive occasion. So it's a win-win.
So let me talk to you about that. How do you expect demand to be? Will demand be strong this festive season? Of course, how was the base last year versus how you're expecting it to play out this year, and how much will this cut add over and above to whatever you were already penciling in, say pre-15th August? What you were already penciling in versus what will you clock? What is the sense you're getting?
So yes, I think it's going to be a great festive season. With this, I think the sentiments will definitely be positive, not just the reduction in automobiles, but I think a lot of essential goods as well. So there will definitely be positivity in the environment. Customers will be looking to make those purchases. So we are anticipating a great festive season. Maybe earlier we were thinking that there might be a 5% or so growth over last year, but I think that is certainly bound to at least double, if not more, with this GST cut. So because customers will be excited to make these purchases, there will be it makes the cars a lot more affordable. People will definitely come in to buy cars.
So you're expecting double the demand what you were penciling in pre-15th August. Is that the right way to think of it?
So I'm thinking that double the expected growth. So maybe we are looking at a 5% growth over last year. I think we would look at least a 10% growth over last year.
Interesting. The last piece is with regard to possible upgrades that customers will look at.
Sure.
Now that this has translated, what's the sense like? Do you believe that the customers walking in will be open to rather a better model or a higher version of the car or certain upgrades within the car, rather than going for the same car which was worth maybe $1.5 lakh more expensive a few days ago?
Sure. No, so I think we've seen that customers are now preferring the higher end variant, so that's for sure. So with that now they become all the more affordable. So maybe for some where it was slightly out of budget or their intended, the price bracket that they wish to buy the car in, this becomes a lot more affordable also. So it will definitely give more bang for the buck or more value to the customer to what he's intending to purchase. So we do anticipate that the customers might upgrade their options, or like you said, they might opt for a few accessories which they earlier may have not wanted to go for. So that would definitely happen.
And how is inventory in the system? Because you obviously come out of a period where for the last month or so customers are also playing wait and watch, maybe not month but maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So there's been an inventory build up. How are you viewing that? What are the conversations you're having with some of the car manufacturers? What are they telling you? What's the pulse you're getting?
Sure. No, so there is inventory in the system. I mean, of course, what has happened is last month a few dealers have cut down on inventory levels because there was uncertainty in the market. So the inventory levels to that extent have come down slightly. What would also happen is that we would have to wait for until the 22nd to pick up fresh inventory.
Correct.
So there would be only so much of stock that is currently available with us, which would be there for immediate delivery once the festive season opens up. So there would be a slight pressure in terms of on inventory is what I would assume. Of course, going forward from 22nd September, the inventory would build up. But like I said, if it's for the festive season that customers are looking to make a purchase, there would be a smaller inventory that is available currently.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rishabh. This has been absolutely great understanding some of the metrics that will play out likely over the next 2 weeks. And of course, we'll stay in touch with you.
Absolutely.
Because as they play out, it's going to be important to track and understand as to how that's really translating to sales, actual sales in the system.
So what we've seen so far while talking to people that are shopping here, store owners and small businesses, is a little bit of a mixed bag. Some people are welcoming this revised tax structure. We're also seeing a lot of shoppers on ground that are a little bit wary of it, even saying that in the past, GST has discouraged them from actually going out and buying items. ये GST का जो नया लागू है, जो सरकार ने कल रात को बोला है, उससे आपको कुछ फर्क पड़ रहा है?
हाँ, निश्चित रूप से फर्क पड़ेगा।
अभी तक आपको कभी लगा है कि यार बहुत ज्यादा GST है इस पे, तो मैं इसको नहीं खरीदूंगा?
हाँ, ऐसा होता था ना। 28% GST जैसे सीमेंट वगैरह पे थे, तो लोगों को मतलब कैसे, हमारा लाइन ही कंस्ट्रक्शन लाइन है, तो उसमें कैसा है कि जो 28% GST है, तो लोग क्या है फिर थोड़े काम में मतलब ऐसा होता था। अभी रिड्यूस हुआ है तो लोगों को निश्चित रूप से 5% लाया ना और 12% जो 18% लाया ना, वो लोगों के लिए मतलब जैसे कैश वैल्यू है ना बहुत कम हो जाएगा, और अभी मतलब बिलिंग में ज़्यादा होगा अभी काम, मतलब लोगों को निश्चित रूप से फायदा मिलेगा उससे।
ऐसे कुछ चीजें हैं जो आपने नहीं खरीदी है पहले GST की वजह से, या आपको लगे बहुत महंगा मैं नहीं खरीदूंगा?
नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ किया नहीं अभी तक तो मैंने ऐसा।
पहले आपने किसी चीज को देख के ये बोला है कि मैं इसको नहीं खरीदूंगी क्योंकि GST हाई है?
हाँ, वो GST लगता है तो ज्यादा पैसा जाता है ना, अभी थोड़ा पैसा कम हो जाएगा तो अच्छा लगेगा।
ठीक है, तो कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स थे जो आप पहले नहीं खरीदते थे?
ऐसे कोई कुछ लेना हो तो GST लगता है तो पैसा ज़्यादा जाता है तो अच्छा नहीं लगता। अभी लेने के लिए कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी, थोड़ा पैसा कम जाएगा हमारा।
तो आप खुश हो?
हाँ, खुश है।
Our last stop is right now outside a toy store, an independent toy store in Dadar market. And let's remember the toy market specifically has seen several changes when it comes to tax slabs. So I'm going to go in and speak to the store owner. He's been running the store for the last 40 years, so he's been around and seen a fair share of tax differences. But let's see what this structure now actually means for parents and children alike. Let's go in. आपका ये दुकान कितने साल से चल रहा है?
मेरा साल 40 साल हो गया।
40 साल हो गया। तो 40 साल में आई थिंक वो फॉर टॉयज और बच्चों के आइटम जो है काफी टैक्स स्लैब्स हमने देखा है। तो सरकार ने कल रात जो GST के बारे में अनाउंसमेंट किया है, उस पे आपकी क्या राय है?
अभी 5% किया तो अच्छी बात है, अभी बच्चे लोगों का खिलौना है, 5% में तो कोई बात नहीं, चलेगा।
अच्छा, ठीक है। क्या आपको लगता है कि ये आप इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट अगर आप क्लेम करते हो तो क्या ये कंज्यूमर्स पे बेनिफिट है कि आप पे बेनिफिट है?
तो मेरे पे तो नहीं है, कंज्यूमर को उसको बेनिफिट है।
पास्ट में क्या आपने देखा है कि कंज्यूमर्स आके खरीदते नहीं है खिलौने क्योंकि उनको लगता है कि इस पे टैक्स है, बहुत ज़्यादा जीएसटी है?
अभी तो समझो कम हो गया ना, तो उसके लिए तो कस्टमर को फ़ायदा ही है। 12 टके के बदले 5 टका 7 टके का फ़ायदा ही है उसको, तो उसको सस्ता गिरेगा उसको।
पर पहले ये होता था जहाँ पे कंज्यूमर्स आके बोलते कि आप जीएसटी चार्ज कर।
हाँ, तो लगता था ना।
अच्छा, और अभी आप कितना जीएसटी चार्ज करते हो?
चार्ज नहीं करते हैं, मेरा रिटेल शॉप है ना, उसमें चार्ज नहीं कर सकते हैं जीएसटी। इंक्लूडिंग है
इंक्लूडिंग।
अभी उसका जो एमआरपी है समझो 120 है, तो उसका कम हो जाएगा एमआरपी, डिस्काउंट दे देंगे कस्टमर को।
ठीक है, तो आप मुझे ये बताएंगे कि जीएसटी फाइल करने में या उसका जो प्रोसेस है हर महीने या हर क्वार्टर, हर 3 महीने आपका कितना टाइम और कितना पैसा जाता है?
रिटेल दुकान है, इसमें तो कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा। होलसेल में होगा, लेकिन रिटेल में तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता है।
ओके, ठीक है, तो आप इसको वेलकम करते हैं।
ओके।
तो करंटली आप अपने स्टोर में जो खिलौने हैं वो जीएसटी का रेट क्या है? 12% या 18%?
12% है और बैटरी पे 18% है।
ओके। जब जीएसटी रेट खिलौने पे ऊपर गए थे, आपने देखा कि कस्टमर्स ने खरीदना बंद किया था?
नहीं, कस्टमर तो खरीदते हैं, लेकिन उसको बजट के हिसाब से भी छोटा आइटम लेके जाते हैं।
From the smaller textile stores to the larger showrooms, independent opticians, toy owners, food items, we've covered it all and even gotten you the voice of the consumer. But whether GST 2.0 is a hit is not going to be decided in air-conditioned boardrooms, but right here in India's bazaars. So we'll be tuned and watching for September 22nd. Thanks so much for watching.
We see the problems, but you as a social entrepreneur see the solutions. You are not just creating solution, you are creating a future where everyone has a chance to thrive. For the change makers, the innovators, the ones building a better world, one solution at a time. The Adani Green Talk Social Impact Awards are created for you. Green Talk Social Impact Awards 2025, coming soon.
Presenting the all-knowing, all-powerful Tech Guru.
Whoa. Guru? I'm no guru.
Okay.
I'm just a guy who loves his tech.
A show where the mysteries of megabytes and motherboards shall be unraveled.
Bro, nobody talks like that anymore. This is all about connected ecosystems, EVs and AI that you can use in your daily lives. We aren't talking about time travel yet.
Gadgets tested under extreme conditions.
But why? I review tech for people like you and me. You know what? Let me take it from here.
All right.
Tech isn't that complicated. In fact, it's about making our lives simpler, better, and more fun. That's what we do on Tech 360. Real talk, real reviews, tech that you can actually use.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Market Express and I'm your host Himakshi Bahugna. Now let's get straight into the show. So viewers, GST Council's Diwali Dhamaka has helped the benchmarks notch a good session today. Nifty managed to end the day above 24,700 levels. Sensex also jumped more than 170 points. Advanced decline ratio was tilted in favor of the declines. The sectoral picture was mixed. Defence, PSU, bank and IT were the top losers. Auto, consumption and finance were the top gainers. M&M, Bajaj Finance and ICICI Bank were the top contributors. A festive season win for the auto sector. Tractors now face a reduced GST of 5% from 12%. Now this is boosting the affordability for brands like Mahindra & Mahindra. Small petrol cars under 1200cc and diesel cars under 1500cc, both up to 4 meters, which has dropped from 28% to 18%, benefiting Maruti and Hyundai. Now, two-wheelers up to 350cc also see a GST cut from 28% to 18%, helping Hero Moto and Bajaj Auto. However, luxury cars now face a 40% GST, but the cess gone, so they are slightly cheaper. A big boost for construction this festive season, the GST Council has slashed the GST rate on cement from 28% to 18% under the new two-slab system. Now, this cut is expected to lower the cement prices by 25 to 30 rupees per bag. Anti-profiteering rules ensure that these savings reach customers. The industry, including giants like Ultratech and Ambuja, stands to gain as they can now implement price hikes more effectively. So dealers might keep low inventory during this transition. A game changer for affordable insurance this festive season, the GST Council has scrapped the 18% GST on health and life insurance premiums effective September 22. So previously, customers paid 118 rupees including the tax, but now expect a 18 rupee discount, bringing costs down by 15%. Now, this could spark higher demand as volumes are likely elastic. Reinsurance also gets a GST exemption, boosting the sector. So companies like LIC and ICICI Prudential are set to benefit. Big relief when it comes to healthcare as well. So GST Council has cut the GST on medicines from 12% to 5% effective September 22. Now, select high-value medicines now face zero GST, which is down from 12%. Now, the inverted duty structure persists, with the APIs at 18% and also finished products at 5%. So, a new GST refund process for unutilized credits will ease the working capital for pharma firms. Companies like Sun Pharma and Cipla stand to benefit. Not just medicines, the GST revamp is a game changer for healthcare hospitals and diagnostic firms as well. So these firms now exempt from charging GST on services. Previously, they paid 5%, 12% or even 18% GST on inputs like equipment and consumables, which couldn't be reclaimed. So most inputs have shifted from 12% to 5% GST, delivering 7% cost saving. So this could boost EBITDA margins by 100 to 150 basis points. The GST Council has slashed rates on consumer durables like air conditioners, dishwashers and TVs above 32 inches from 28% to 18% effective September 22. Now, this move is set to lower the prices by 8 to 10%, now making these appliances more affordable. So companies like Blue Star, Voltas and Symphony are poised to benefit as demand surges. The simplified two-slab GST structure also aims to boost festive sales and ease the tax burden on consumers. A major boost for travelers, the GST Council has slashed GST on hotel rooms with tariffs up to 7,500 rupee per day from 12% to 5% effective September 22. Now, this applies without input tax credit, making stays more affordable for budget and mid-market travelers. So, industry leaders like Radisson and FHRAI says that this will drive domestic tourism, also increase the occupancy and boost India's hospitality sector. So beneficiaries include chains like Radisson, Taj and Lemon Tree. Macquarie has initiated coverage on Keynes Tech with an outperform rating, seeing further upside despite its lofty 146 times price to earnings multiple. Now, the electronic manufacturing services firm trading at 6,780 rupees benefits from a massive $1 trillion global EDSM opportunity. Now, the key drivers include aggressive international expansion, backward integration, and also value-added services like ODM and OSAT facilities. So, a recent 1,600 crore rupees of capital raise provides dry powder for acceleration. Now, while PM Modi's mention of its Gujarat chip plant boosts the prospects, Macquarie targets 7,700 rupees, implying 14% upside, with revenue projected to hit around 9,000 crore rupees in 3 years. Electronic Smart India shares have risen for the 5th consecutive day between an intraday high of 155.65 rupees and also a low of 134.9 rupees. The stock has witnessed exceptionally high trading volumes with over 5.46 million shares traded, a surge of 4,627.95% compared to its 5-day average of about 1,15,590 shares. Now, the previous session saw the shares close up 4.10% and also at rupees 130.75. The stock recently hit a 52-week high of 225 rupees and a low of 110 rupees. Currently, it's trading at 31.58% below its high, but nearly 40% above its low. So, market capitalization stands around 5,923 crore rupees. Max Financial Services shares plummeted 3.50% to 1,560 rupees. Now, this is marking the steepest single-day drop in 9 months amid broader market volatility. The stock hit an intraday low of 1,560 rupees after touching a high of around 1,650 rupees. So, with trading volume surging 129% to 1,254 shares against a 5-day average of 5,435. Now, this follows a modest 0.46% decline to 1,616 rupees in the prior session. The 52-week range stands at 1,678, high on August 26, and also 972 rupees, which is low on March 4th. So, leaving the stock 7.08% below its peak and also 60.4% above the trough. Now, market capitalization is at 53,837.9 crore rupees. Ramco Cements has commissioned an 8 megawatt waste heat recovery system at its Ramasamy Rajanagar cement plant in Virudhinagar, Tamil Nadu, enhancing the sustainable power generation. Now, this addition elevates the plant's WHR capacity from 2 megawatt to 10 megawatt, while the company's total WHR power generation surges to 53.15 megawatt from 45.15 megawatt. Now, the move aligns with Ramco's green initiatives, reducing the reliance on conventional energy and also cutting emissions amid plans for further expansions. Earlier, a 2 megawatt WHR turbine was also added at Alathiyur in January 2025. The commissioning supports India's push for eco-friendly cement production, with Ramco targeting 68 megawatt overall WHR by FY26. Now, shares have risen 1.2% on the news, reflecting investor confidence in the firm's sustainability efforts. Bharat Heavy Electricals has secured a significant order worth rupees 2,600 crore rupees from MB Power for the supply of key equipment, including a boiler, turbine, and also a generator for the 1 into 800 megawatt, that is 800 megawatt Anupur thermal power project. Now, the project uses supercritical technology aiming for higher efficiency and also reduced emissions. Now, the boiler will be manufactured at BHEL's Trichy plant, while the turbine and generator will be produced at the Haridwar plant. Now, the supply is scheduled to be completed within 58 months. Now, this order reinforces BHEL's prominence in India's power equipment sector. Food delivery giant Swiggy has hiked its platform fee to 15 rupee per order, which is its highest ever, and the third increase in 3 weeks, to capitalize on surging festive season demand and bolster the profitability. So, the fee separate from delivery charges, GST and restaurant commissions briefly rose to 14 rupees on Independence Day before reverting to 12 rupees. Now, with over 2 million daily orders, the 15 rupee levy could actually generate 3 crore rupees daily, which is up from 2.4 crore rupees at 12 rupees, adding 216 crore annually. So, rivals like Zomato followed the suit, raising to 12 rupees amid Q1 of FY26, net losses widening 96% to 1,197 crore rupees, despite 54% revenue growth to 4,961 crore rupees. Now, these hikes aim to offset the Instamart investments, also rising costs. Poonawalla FinCorp has approved raising up to 1,500 crore rupees through the private placement of secured redeemable rated listed non-convertible debentures, that is the NCDs. Now, the issue includes a base amount of 750 crore rupees with a green shoe option for an additional 750 crore rupees. Now, these NCDs will be secured by a first-ranking pari passu charge on hypothecated properties, offering security to investors. Now, the move aims to bolster companies' capital base, possibly for business expansion, debt refinancing, or improving the balance sheet as well. Poonawalla FinCorp has been actively raising funds through NCDs and also focuses on increasing long-term borrowings. A tragic explosion rocked Solar Industries India Limited's facility in Chagdo, Nagpur at 12:33 a.m. on last night during the crystallization process of an energetic material in the crystallization building. Now, despite immediate activation of safety mechanisms and also evacuation protocols, the blast shock impact resulted in 1 fatality and 8 injuries in nearby areas. So the company has expressed condolences, assured support to affected families, and also notified the authorities. An investigation is underway to determine the cause and implement preventive measures. Shares of Solar Industries plunged up to 2.9% following the incident, amid concerns over safety at the explosive manufacturing plant, which previously suffered a deadly blast in December 2023. Highway Infrastructure has received a letter of acceptance to collect users' fee on the 4-lane Greenfield Expressway spur from Delhi-Vadodara Greenfield Expressway near Bandikui to Jaipur in Rajasthan. So the contract is valued at 18.97 crore rupees and awarded under the hybrid annuity model. Now, this project underscores the company's growing role in toll operations and also infrastructure management, contributing to revenue generation and also highway maintenance. Ola Electric shares experienced a notable decline of 8% following an impressive 77% rally over 3 weeks. Investors booked profits after the shares' rise in share prices. The sudden drop reflects market volatility and also profit-taking behavior. Ola Electric stock has been under the spotlight amid growing interest in the electric vehicles and also renewable transportation. So market analysts suggest that the correction was a normal phase after the rapid rally. Now, despite the decline, long-term prospects for the company remain strong as it continues to innovate in the EV sector. Investors remain watchful of the future developments and also government policies impacting the EV market. The GST reforms announced by the government will lead to a fiscal burden of only 18,000 crore rupees for the central government, according to Bernstein's analysis. Now, this cost is merely 0.05% of India's FY26 GDP. The reforms include significant GST rate reductions across various goods effective September 22, which is expected to boost the consumption and also improve tax compliances. Now, while the government will face a short-term revenue loss, brokerages believe that the impact is minimal and will be offset by increased consumption and also better compliance. Now, the overall net loss for center and states combined stats at 1.57 lakh crore rupees, with the centre's shares being 74,000 crore rupees, but the effective burden is reduced by reduced capex assumptions. Federal jury in San Francisco rules that Alphabet's Google must pay $425 million in a class action lawsuit accusing the tech giant of secretly collecting user data for 8 years, even from millions who disabled the web and app activity tracking feature. So filed in July 2020, the suit alleged Google accessed mobile devices via apps like Uber, Venmo, and also Instagram to harvest and use personal information, violating the privacy promises. So consumers initially sought over $31 billion in damages. Google spokesperson confirmed that the verdict without further comment. Now, this ruling underscores growing scrutiny on big tech's data practices amid rising privacy concerns globally. Shares of Alphabet dipped 0.8% in after hours of trading. Chinese tech giants like Alibaba, ByteDance and Tencent are defying the government pressure to shun US chips, showing robust demand for Nvidia's AI processors amid escalating US-China tech tensions. Now, Beijing regulators summoned firms to probe H20 chip buys over one information risk, urging the reduced reliance on American tech, but also stopped short of bans. So Nvidia which regained H20 sales approval in July 2025, holds 6 lakh to 7 lakh units in inventory and also plans a B30A samples for testing soon. So potentially 6 times more powerful at double the $10,000 to $12,000 price. So CEO Jensen Huang assures strong demand and also eyeing a $50 billion China market. The GST Council has slashed the tax rate on cinema tickets priced below 100 rupees from 12% to 5% effective September 22 to enhance the affordability and also support single-screen theatres in smaller towns. Chaired by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, the 56th meeting approved the change targeting families and budget-conscious viewers frequenting affordable shows. So, however, tickets above 100 rupees retain the 18% rate, leaving multiplex patrons with prices between 150 rupees to 400 rupees unchanged. Now, the Multiplex Association of India's plea for a 5% slab up to 300 rupees was rejected. Now, this partial relief aims to boost cinema infrastructure and also the attendance amid rising entertainment costs, though industry experts note that limited overall revenue impact. Citi's outlook on metals highlights mixed trends, with coal benefiting from GST rationalization, aluminium holding a neutral near-term stance but also bullish medium-term, zinc facing bearish pressure due to strong supply growth, and precious metals gold and silver expected to continue rising. So the removal of the compensation cess on coal is estimated to reduce aluminium production costs by 2 to 3%, benefiting major producers like Hindalco and Vedanta. So both the companies stand to gain as lower coal cost ease operational expenses, reinforcing their competitive position in the growing aluminium sector and supported by ongoing capacity expansions and vertical integration. The centre has moved the Supreme Court, seeking transfer of 3 petitions challenging this constitutional validity of the Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Act 2025, currently pending before the High Courts of Karnataka, Delhi and Madhya Pradesh. Now, the move aims to consolidate the cases in the Supreme Court to avoid conflicting rulings across different jurisdictions. The Act also imposes a nationwide ban on real money online gaming and also classifies violation as cognizable and non-bailable offences. So the Supreme Court has directed the case to be listed for an hearing on September 8. Now, this consolidation is expected to bring clarity and also uniformity on the law's validity. The Yamuna River surged above danger levels in Delhi today, reaching 207.48 meters at Loha Pul, causing widespread flooding due to recent heavy rains. Now, water inundated relief camps near Mayur Vihar Phase 1 and also crematoriums like Nigam Bodh Ghat, halting operations, while Geeta Colony saw 10 feet of water running store wood. So, affected areas include Yamuna Bazaar, Monastery Market, and roads to Yamuna Bank Metro Station, which became inaccessible. So the flyover on National Highway 44 partially caved in. How over 8,000 people were shifted to tents and shelters. Officials report extensive damage with no immediate and aid for crematoriums. More rain is also forecast, exacerbating the crisis. India's infant mortality rate has plummeted to a historic low of 25 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2023, which is down 37.5% from 40% in 2013 and also impressive 80% reduction since 1971, when it stood at 129. So according to the latest sample registration system report from the Registrar General of India, this milestone underscores decades of progress in the public health, with rural areas seeing a 36% decadal drop to 28 and urban to 18. So however disparities persist, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Uttar Pradesh report the highest at 37, while Kerala at 5 and Manipur at 3 lead the nation. So birth rates also fell to 18.4% from 36.9% in 1971, and death rates have halved to 6.4%. Experts hail this achievement as a testament to improved healthcare access, though northern states lag, urging targeted interventions for equitable gains. The Kuki-Zo Council has agreed to reopen National Highway 2 in Manipur for the free movement of commuters and also essential goods. Now, this decision came after a series of meetings with the Ministry of Home Affairs and signing off tripartite suspension of the operations, that is the SOO agreement involving the central government, Manipur government and Kuki groups. So the agreements includes commitments to maintain peace and relocate designated camps from conflict zones and also stringent monitoring. The reopening of NH2 is also expected to ease supply disruptions and facilitate smoother transit, providing relief amid ongoing ethnic tensions in the region. In a nail-biting start to the Hockey Asia Cup 2025, hosts India were held to a thrilling 2 draw by South Korea in a high-octane clash. India took an early lead with clinical strikes, but South Korea fought back, showcasing their resilience with 2 well-taken goals. The match kept fans on the edge till the final whistle. Well, with that, viewers, it's a wrap on this edition of Market Express. But please don't go anywhere and stay tuned to NDTV Profit.
Let's welcome in R.C. Bhargav, Chairman at Maruti Suzuki, to get his reaction as a veteran to the industry. Mr. Bhargav, welcome to the show. Your initial reaction with regards to the boost the auto sector could get from here on?
I think the reforms in terms of the GST restructuring is one of the most massive, important pieces of new actions which the government has taken for a long time. I think it is going to have a huge impact on the economy. I think most of us are underestimating its value. We will see how it will energize the people now, and the customer particularly will suddenly find that things have changed for him. The income tax relief came to him. On top of that, the repo rates have been coming down, interest rates have finally started coming down. We have more money now in the pockets of the customer in the future because household expense items have all become cheaper. So net, there's far more purchasing power with the customer, and he will look upon this Diwali as a time to go on a shopping binge.
Go on a shopping binge. That's interesting, Mr. Bhargav. So will purchasing power then return with just the GST cut?
It reduces the retail price of a small car by 8.5% to 9%. That is significant. For a car costing 5 to 6 lakhs, it means something like a 50,000 rupee reduction.
But we're talking about a 50,000 reduction, but will this person actually have that 5.5 lakhs to begin with?
No, earlier on when the prices went up, he didn't have all these other things with him either. Over the last 2-3, these prices have been going up for the last 5 years. During this period, partly his incomes have gone up. This year particularly, as I said, his other expenses have come down and his income tax has given him more money. Now the price has come down to by 50,000 rupees, which sets off at least part of the price increase which has taken place. So altogether, it should make a difference to his purchasing ability.
Okay, so that's with regards to where purchasing ability goes. What's the impact, Mr. Bhargav, that you're seeing when you talk about the, vehicles that come under the 40% tax bracket?
We are in the 40% tax bracket also. We sell maybe about 30% of our cars in that tax bracket. Only about 70% of our cars are in the lower tax bracket. And there also we will see a slight price improvement because the tax was 43, 45%. That's coming down to 40. And overall, I think the car industry will benefit to the extent that the slackness in the growth rate will now, I think, change, and we'll see a revival of the growth of the car industry, and it should reach what used to be the normal 7 to 8% a year.
So industry is looking at 7 to 8% kind of growth on the back of this, Mr. Bhargav. But what's the kind of volume growth that you see for Maruti?
I can't tell you the volume at the moment, but all I can say is that we see the growth rate going up, and the growth rate for small cars going up to 10% a year, for the overall business going up by about 7 to 8% a year in the course of the next 6 months.
Okay, so overall volume growth is something that the street should be eyeing from here on as well. Mr. Bhargav, the other question we have is, how does compliance change from here on?
It's certainly easier to manage tax now when there are two slabs and not so many definitions of what is a paratha and what is a naan and what is what. The lack of discretion which now has been brought in, that things are just one category, is going to make both enforcement, compliance, everything much easier.
Right, I mean, EVs is something that you should look at. Adoption is the key from here on. But thank you so much, Mr. Bhargav, for joining us on the show.
We see the problems, but you as a social entrepreneur see the solutions. You are not just creating solution, you are creating a future where everyone has a chance to thrive. For the change makers, the innovators, the ones building a better world, one solution at a time. The Adani Green Talk Social Impact Awards are created for you. Green Talk Social Impact Awards 2025, coming soon.
Presenting the all-knowing, all-powerful Tech Guru.
Whoa. Guru? I'm no guru.
Okay.
I'm just a guy who loves his tech.
A show where the mysteries of megabytes and motherboards shall be unraveled.
Bro, nobody talks like that anymore. This is all about connected ecosystems, EVs and AI that you can use in your daily lives. We aren't talking about time travel yet.
Gadgets tested under extreme conditions.
But why? I review tech for people like you and me. You know what? Let me take it from here.
All right.
Tech isn't that complicated. In fact, it's about making our lives simpler, better, and more fun. That's what we do on Tech 360. Real talk, real reviews, tech that you can actually use.
Tech has changed. So should your tech show.
They're the force behind some of India's most respected business empires. But you've rarely heard them speak. Now, for the first time, these leaders open up on succession, conflict, governance.
Well, it's been less than 24 hours since GST 2.0 has been underway. It promises a landmark step, a landmark series of measures which benefit millions of people across the country. It's a step which doesn't just kickstart economic growth, it fuels consumption in a very big way. It could have an impact on our overall GDP numbers. Joining us to discuss this, the Minister Piyush Goyal. Thank you very much for being with us. Since there are people across the country watching this, in simple terms, how was it a priority of this government to ensure that millions had a little bit more to spend at one level?
At the outset, I'd like to thank Prime Minister Narendra Modi for this historic decision to reduce GST on such a wide plethora of goods and services, particularly those that affect the common man, women, youth, farmers, MSMEs. Because the way he has very systematically, over the last 11 years, changed a fragile 5, completely devastated economy into the world's top 5 economies. Well on track to become the 3rd largest GDP by 2027. Today, the world's fastest growing large economy for the last 4 years. Clearly reflecting a renewed confidence and a renewed ability, thanks to strong macroeconomic fundamentals, to be able to carry out a step as transformational as this reduction in GST. This has been done to a plan. It's not as if it's a overnight decision. Obviously, you will realize that when such a large number of changes are done to rates, rationalization of rates, processes, simplification of procedures, it's a labor of love of many, many months. Officers, groups of ministers from the states, the central government, everybody has worked on this. And I think it's a series of steps being taken to strengthen the economy. You saw the income tax reduction of rates and increase in slabs without payment of tax. Now up to 12.75 lakhs for a salaried person and 12 lakhs otherwise also. A person doesn't have to pay any income tax, and that has given a huge relief to the middle class. This step coming so soon thereafter is an icing on the cake. It in a way gives a big boost to consumption demand, coupled with the huge investments the government is doing on infrastructure spending. The 2 pillars, infrastructure spending and consumption demand, collectively making up the GDP, and with a huge multiplier impact in terms of growing demand leading to higher production, particularly now the demand for Swadeshi goods. India-made goods is also becoming current coin. More and more people are now...
I see you're doing away with Coca-Cola and aerated drinks, you put them at 40%.
Well, I wouldn't like to comment on that, but the idea is to promote domestic goods. And I'm very confident that the cumulative effect of all these transformational initiatives, and many, many more to come, this is just the beginning of the next generation reform.
Is this going to boost our GDP growth?
Well, GDP growth has consistently been high. We have been able to bring inflation down to 1.55%. It will clearly have a very positive impact on GDP growth. It will clearly help us to sustain the momentum. And over the next few years in the Amrit Kal, our effort to take a $4 trillion economy to a $30 trillion economy by 2047, bring greater prosperity to the last man at the bottom of the pyramid, ensure that 140 crore Indians get a better quality of life, they have ease of living, their children get high quality healthcare, education, good opportunities in life. This mission that Prime Minister Modi has set out on will get a huge impetus with this reduction and rationalization and reform of GST laws.
This comes obviously at a time when there are those sanctions and tariffs upon India 50%. The textile sector is one which has been potentially vulnerable in the face of these sanctions. And there are benefits for the textile sector as far as GST is concerned. Was the timing of this in a sense done to help those who might have been impacted?
As I mentioned, this is certainly not something you can do overnight. The tariffs.
But you could announce it at this time.
No, we've been working on it for a long time, and periodically it has been publicly known also
of course,
that this is going to come in. On 15th August, we got a flavor with Prime Minister committing and promising to give a huge Diwali gift. And there you are. He always delivers on his promises. And with Navratri coming up on 22nd, the festive season starting on 22nd September, I think the timing is just right. It's coincidental that we have certain sectors affected by high tariffs from another country, and this will ameliorate their impact quite a bit. For example, textiles is one of the biggest gainers.
Yes.
Footwear and leather is one of the biggest gainers. So our food products, the amount of benefit that farmers and the entire value chain in food products will get is humongous. All of this will lead to greater purchasing power in the hands of the common man. It will be a big relief to our consumer spending costs and will help many sections of society to go in for things which they would otherwise not have been able to afford. So whether it's